So, last week, the party restrained the Krizit man that was in front of them, where we opened back in his room at the Enticing Prophecy Inn. But he remained unmoving and unresponsive regardless, trying everything they could think of to contact him or snap him out of his state, but were unsuccessful. Perseus began searching the room, eventually rummaging through the sack of books up against the wall, a few of which stood out to Elantra, one leather-bound binder of assorted spell scrolls, and another an untitled old volume emitting a bright aura of magic. After some examination and reading, it became clear that this tome was actually the original draft of an old collection of oral tales called Collected Stories and Fables of the World, published long ago by a human named Tobar. There was also a stack of papers in this bag of books that appeared to be notes for some speech written by someone named Akundali. Zael, who had been keeping the eye on the stone sphere and amber lens floating in the air in front of the Krizit, noticed another flash from the lens and decided it was time to remove it from the orb's orbit. With a strong pull, he wrenched it free and began gazing through it in an attempt to identify the image he had seen in it earlier. After a few seconds, however, he froze in place and an image appeared in front of the lens under his direct control. An image of himself, I should specify. The group spent some time exploring the properties of this illusion and also how the removal of the lens may have affected the Krizit man, but his state seemed unchanged. Next, set to removing the floating stone orb from its position, including wrapping a bed sheet around it and going full tug of war. But all attempts were completely unsuccessful, with it not budging even the slightest bit. Y'all did notice, however, that touching the sphere filled whoever did so with a growing pulling sensation, as if some part of you was being drawn into the object. Elantra then picked up and examined the puzzle box, though was not able to determine much of use from it. Deciding that more information was in order, the group then grabbed several of these important items from the room and set the rest of the room back as roughly as it was when you entered, before proceeding back downstairs. After a quick chat with Helibonia, they confirmed that the crystalline man in the room was none other than Akundali, the author of the notes they'd found. And then Seekers headed back to the Royal Globe Museum while reviewing their current information. Once you arrived, you found it was being locked up for the evening by the same Samsarn man that you had spoken with earlier. And from him, you were able to get the location of Sam Noor's house, at the very least, who was one of the two employees that had appeared as images that morning. On the way to Sam's house, you checked the bar that he lived next to and found him sat alone at a table, contemplating the day's events over a drink. You were able to get a bit more information from him regarding the talks that were supposed to be happening at the museum, and the ones that did happen before breaking off for the night. Zael and Elantra headed off to a shorter stay inn called the Quiet Square Inn, which is located sort of partway down between the Enticing Prophecy and the museum. While Perseus decided it wise for someone to spend the evening back at the Enticing Prophecy. While sorting out his reservation for the room, however, Perseus got one last crucial bit of information from Helibonia. The signature of the man that had visited Akundali 9 days prior, which they believed to be one Yard Trunkblock. A familiar name. And no, I didn't write going full tug-of-war in my notes. You can read my notes. It's just the session report. So, it is morning.
Woke up.
Did we say we were going to meet at a particular place? I can't remember if we wanted to all go to the inn where Perseus is at.
I think we were going to go to the museum. I think we picked a spot close to the museum to meet up there.
Yeah, I don't recall any specifics about where/when you would meet, but I do recall y'all saying that you had worked out those specifics. So we can assume that Whatever y'all work out now is what you worked out yesterday.
It happened. We're
Yes, it happens. So we can roll back and do it now, basically.
Well, let me just
Oh, by the way,
knock one back real quick.
and I tell them that yard trunk block was the man, and then the left hand guy. Remember?
Intimately.
It took me a minute to remember myself, but I remember it now. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with right now.
Zell is completely unfamiliar with the name.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're one to read reports, you probably never would have come across this name at all, Zal.
I think Elantra not only reads the reports, but fills out the Seeker's crossword puzzle they include with the weekly reports. Is there a magic wordle in your world, Duff?
I was just thinking about fucking Wordle.
There can be. It certainly doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility to have, like enchanted paper that essentially just acts as the Wordle webpage.
Does it then get bought out by the mystical New York Times?
I think it's already bought out by something big because it would be expensive to ship out that much magic paper. That's already a subscription service.
Anyway, to the point at hand.
Don't mind me just writing magic Wordle in my notes.
Fucking.
I like how he did that instead of just
so
making
Percy,
it was a
what
board
word
game.
do you normally start out with?
What word do I start out with?
Raise gang.
For what?
Mystical Wordle.
For Wordle.
Magic Wordle.
I've never played Wordle, I'll be honest.
Elantra was Team Adieu, but Elantra saw a post on Magic Reddit that Salet, S-A-L-E-T, was the word with the highest, fastest success rate. And so I've been trying that or Arise lately to pretty decent success. But it's just like, if you could start with any author, I would start with R.L. Stein, because those are the most
Oh my god.
common English letters.
I'm 4 years old and start with the word penis.
Honestly, it's not a bad starter.
That's exactly what I thought.
There are better ones for sure,
but those are some. That's a solid 5 letters right there.
If penis started with an R somehow, it would be like a great starting word.
Percy's
can I make some sort of?
So are we reconvened now? Are we just jumping there?
Yes, yeah. we're just jumping to being reconvened. We're in front of the inn that Zahel and Elantra stayed at because it was nearby the Royal Globe Museum, if I remember.
We got there first, so we were just.
You definitely got there first. You woke up there
by doing some magic Wordle. We're just passing the time. That's all.
I don't know, somebody's calling me.
Used to call me.
So we're outside the Quiet Square Inn, which is in a bit of a less trafficked area. You're off some of the more popular roads, hence the name.
The call was spam risk. Can I quickly just roll like a history check or something on good old yard trunk block? Would I have gained any additional information that I don't know already from the report about him in character? Like, would Elantra have known anything?
Was he? And just to kind of ask question because I don't really know what happened. Was he important? Like, how important was he in that adventure?
Not very.
But his name did come up.
Yeah, his name did come up, and his name was fairly important in getting things worked out. But he didn't do that much.
He was the one that was giving Krakus and Elantra the once over for the fight after they went through that portal.
Yeah, basically beating the crap out of them while they're tied up.
No,
tried to?
actually, he went and retrieved the healing salve that was used to wake them back up after they had been beaten up.
Okay.
So you want to see if you like figured anything out from like a report or something?
Yeah, I think Elantra would have been kind of, especially right after that, been reading up, like trying to like go through anything they could to find just like information about like who were these people. Because I think Elantra is like in the back of their mind is like, I still want to bring these people down and kill them all, or not kill them all necessarily, but like stop whatever evil bullshit they're doing.
Right.
So I think Elantra would have done some research. So I guess this is kind of a role to see like, did anything come of that would be relevant to this guy?
Okay. Yeah, you can give me a. I feel like local is probably better
Okay.
for that. It's more about people and stuff, or like now people, currently alive people.
That's a good way of putting it.
What I'm trying to find is I did write up something that had some results of you doing research right after the mausoleum incident. I'm trying to find that if you have it at the ready or remember anything about what I called it. That would be helpful.
No, I don't.
It's probably just a generic article.
I'm one-handed at the moment because I'm eating a sandwich.
There.
My computer doesn't have enough RAM for all this.
Found it.
Great.
Okay, so what you already knew from this prior research about Yard specifically is that he worked with the Dolrest Historical Society in Hallfeld for several months. If you recall, the Dolrest Historical Society is essentially who hired you on for that job, and that's what organization Alaric and Etch and Thorin all worked for.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, before that, there's no real note of him having worked anywhere of note. No like important placements at universities or anything like that. Basically, his name didn't come up until he got his in at the Historical Society.
So no, like academic paper trail. Okay.
But there was some record of him moving to Freewold shortly before that expedition. Freewold being the place where you portaled to.
Right.
And then there was another report that came later, which I didn't put a date on, but I definitely should have put a date on. Sometime later, but before now. From someone that the Seekers had placed to watch over the manor that you portaled to, which essentially revealed that the place was abandoned, sort of without any indication that they were leaving. So there wasn't like a bunch of people walking out the front door and getting in a caravan and driving away. It just sort of stopped. There sort of stopped being activity there, and no one ever saw anyone leave. So you have that already.
Okay.
I think what you might have picked up with a 27, you're definitely going to get something for that. What you might have picked up, maybe you did a little bit of just general investigation into this city. There is a place colloquially called the Blue Bowl, but it is officially titled the Grand City Track Center, which is essentially like a multi-purpose racing betting place. So they do a racetrack that for like horses and dogs and fantasy beasts of all flavors. Yard works there. So you don't have like any precise timing for when he showed up here, but he has a job here. Presumably he also lives here. Or is staying at some long-term inn here or something. But he has employment in the city.
Okay. And he has no academic track record, but he's worked with historical artifact things before, and the last time he was doing it was in tandem with the Left Hand to loot this mausoleum for a nefarious purpose, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like he's not a combatant so far that we've seen.
Is
He's
he not
like
You're talking about Yard, right?
Yeah. Yeah, thus far
So-
you have not seen Yard fight anyone.
Just to clarify, though, because again, I skimmed over some of the and watched some of it live, but also doing other things. Was he not the one that was like standing behind the other woman who was beaten? That was like taking care of Krakus or whatever.
No, that was
Like, wasn't he-
Callum Crane.
Okay, so he wasn't the one with the crossbow. I think if I remember correctly, it was a.
Callum Crane was essentially a necromancer of sort who was seemingly taking charge of the situation, and was the one who was actually in the mausoleum with them.
Yeah, but that wasn't the person holding the crossbow, was it?
So excuse me. There were, I think, 4 other people that you all identified there.
Okay, so it was someone else, though.
3 of them died. Well, y'all killed them. They
Maybe
didn't
that's why
die of
his name
natural
is important.
causes. Y'all murdered them.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, there definitely was. When they were tied up, there was one woman in there with Callum Crane who was, about to finish them off. That was, I'd have to go look up the name. And then there were 2 other men. There was like I think there was, I don't remember if it was a half orc or a full flavor orc there with them, and a human man as well, all dead.
Okay. So then, never mind completely at all. Either way, Zell shouldn't even be thinking about this. He doesn't know the person.
But so, if they were involved in trafficking historical items again, then that leads credence to this whole thing's a setup to steal something from the museum. Which I don't know if I said that out loud last week, but that's been my working theory.
Did you ever get any info on what they got out of the mausoleum?
We watched them take something.
Well, so they definitely took some magic artifacts. I don't think y'all have any information
on
on
a
what
lot of
they
stuff from the lower floors, right? Because we came through and it was all
Yeah.
already looted.
did. Yeah. They also crucially took a bunch of undead with them.
Yes, right.
As far as you know, those undead are still kicking around somewhere. There's been no record of an undead attack anywhere that you've heard of. And you definitely didn't kill all of them. Zael, I think you might have a hankering, a craving arising in you for some
Oh,
hollow
I
spray.
already knocked one back. I mentioned that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. I said, hold on, let me knock one back real quick, and then I
Okay.
deducted it from my my 6-pack.
Excellent.
I assumed you meant that as the player. We were like, hang on, let me drink an entire beer before the session. And I was like, what?
No.
This session has changed tonally quite a lot from the weird murder mystery we were dealing with last time. Except without any murders. The weird non-murder mystery. The weird mystery. I could just call it a mystery. They don't have to be murder mysteries. Anyway.
Nope. Zell does no longer go anywhere without his trusty six pack by his side.
So what was the name of the track?
The Grand City Track Center.
Grand
or the
City
Blue
Track
Bowl.
Center. Blue Bowl. We're just kind of like in a less busy part of the city in front of our inn. Zahel having just drank a bottle and thrown it on the sidewalk.
Yes.
Elantra having done the magic wordle for the day.
Yeah, so I'm picturing y'all like right off the side of the road, like huddled around or leaning up against a leafless tree, trying to get some cover from the winds that whip through the streets. It's a cold morning.
You know, winds that whip is a line in the backyard against some castaways.
Alrighty then.
You've said that a few times this adventure, and that's all I can think of. My brain is rotted from the internet. Just truly spongy mush in my head. So I think Elantra is kind of filling people in on like the like. I think Elantra is like has a piece of paper with like notes and like badly drawn diagrams because they're not an artist of just like, so I'm here and he's doing this and that, and then we know this guy was a speaker, so he has some historical significance and he had these artifacts on him, and the museum was a target, and there's something relevant in the museum. I just don't know what the single piece that'll make it all fall together is. Except with a pseudo-British accent.
Of course.
So did we want to stick with our previous plan of going to the museum?
I mean, we could go to the place where he works if that's want to do that straight up.
That is another point of interest now. What did we want to go to the museum for again? More questions, or did we want to look around?
I think we wanted to try to look around if anything was, or like, I don't even know. I don't remember.
So
did we want to ask if anything was missing, or ask if Akundali had behaved weirdly, since we know the people at the museum would have seen him?
We could now that we know that the Dragongling person is not Yard.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
different people. We could ask the director about that individual.
Or it could have been Yard with a disguise spell.
Could be that.
If the director might recognize the person as a prominent benefactor, then that could at least eliminate or at least
yeah.
I mean, if it's someone who's been around for a while and is known for patronage of the arts and all that sort of thing, then I would imagine that we can at least solidify it's not Yard. I don't know if that just gives us another person to track down or eliminates suspicion.
I will say that Som, when describing this person and the conversation with Akundali, did mention that they did not recognize this dragonkin fella.
Important. So we can already assume it's not a regular benefactor. So okay. The track actually might be a better bet if we have a suspect. I mean, we know Yard. If anything, we would want to find Yard for previous misgivings. And of
So what's
course,
the plan when we approach him, though? Are we just gonna straight up like?
we could follow him. We could like.
I
don't know.
could turn into a dog and follow him. I can do it for 5 hours, but I'm not sure how normal. I could do a rat, but that's probably gonna horrify people.
I also don't think a rat fits in this city. If
Yeah.
my mental description of it is accurate.
Wolverine's probably not either.
Have I? Here's the question: have I prepared my spells for the day?
I assume that you have. I assume you did that before you left the room. But
Okay.
if you want to have not done that, it's up to you.
Well, let me look at what I clicked last week if I had done that.
Well, here's a thought. If we go to the track, we have no idea if he still works there or when he works there. So it's likely we're going to end up staking out for a while. Maybe it'd be a good idea to hit up the museum first, because that would take less time. And see if that gives us any more clues. And then if that leads us nowhere, or even if it does gives us something to go off of, we could still head to the track and wait it out.
Also, I'm gonna see if I see any birds around as we're doing all this. I'm just gonna keep my eyes to the sky for an idea for a bird I
Okay.
can blend as possible.
As y'all stand here discussing this, there's someone walks by, a tall figure wearing a long velvet jacket of red and silver, which extends down past their knees and buttons up the side with big, like, wide wizard sleeves dangling several inches below their hands, which Elantra would for sure recognize as a uniform of the Order of Mages officers who patrol various cities and things. You get a sort of side-eye look up and down, and a little glimmer in their eye lets you know that they're on duty and examining for things, but they continue moving on.
Gotcha.
Old Ned.
I would like to. Can I like approach this person?
Sure, yeah, I mean, they're just walking through the streets, so.
Hi there. Could I ask you a perhaps brief, but perhaps not question?
Yes, of course, of course.
God, I knew it was going to be a nerd voice. I've recently arrived in town, and I heard something about someone in the museum was mentioning to me, illusory people walking about. Do you know anything about this?
All we know is that it's none of our members. We haven't picked up any sort of... Nothing's coming up on our scans, you see. It seems like it's not magic. At least not magic we are concerned with.
Let's see.
They squint their eyes a little bit. I see you're... Shall I say loaded for bear today?
I whispered to not Elantra. We're like, is he pregnant? Is that what that means?
I trust that your license covers all of this.
Of course.
Right. Anything else?
No, I was just curious. It's quite a strange thing.
Indeed.
It certainly seems like it would be magical. It's quite fascinating, really.
That was our assumption, but when nothing came up on our checks, it ceased to be our problem. It is up to the city guard to sorted out.
Fair enough. Thank you.
So, out of character question for a moment. When you say loaded to bear, is that referring to prepared spells or like magical equipment?
The fact that Elantra's got like 9 magic items on their person right now.
Okay. So does that mean magic items have to be? Because I know previously you talked about license with the order for mages and such, but do magical items have to be registered as well, or is that just a comment on the fact that Elantra has a shit ton of magical items on them at the moment?
Essentially, magic items just sort of fall under the same thing as spells. If you don't use them, then it doesn't really matter. Like, you can have a fireball prepared and like know how to cast fireball. As long as you don't do it, then you don't need to have a license for fireball, right? So,
Okay.
Yeah, essentially it was
myself and Percy's need to be worried about being licensed for.
No, because Percy's as a
Okay.
druid casts divine magic, which is not part of their purview.
Okay.
They are only concerned with arcane magic.
So the artifacts themselves aren't a concern. It's more just doing spells.
Yeah, it's just sort of like a veiled warning. Like, if you intend to use any of this stuff that I can tell that you have, make sure that you don't break the boundaries of your license.
To be fair, most of what I have is divination or obdurative.
True, the vast majority of what you're carrying on you would be fine for your license. I think there's certainly, well, probably some scrolls in that binder that might breach it. And the tome, you don't really know enough about the nature of the magic of that, so unclear what that does.
Also, I hadn't prepared my spells before the session, so I did technically do them after the conversation that we had about whether I prepared my spells already or not. But also, most of the spells today are divinative or utility spells.
Mine's a lot of utility and combat.
I have, I think, 2 combat-focused spells prepared, maybe 3.
I did not prepare good berry, so don't expect berries.
I really hope we get to use perfect placement today. It's a new spell at this level. It does this.
Nice.
Percy's, as Elantra is speaking with this officer of the order, you hear a familiar chirping that perhaps you didn't expect to find all the way over here at this time of year, but it is a familiar songbird.
Would that be a small animal?
Mechanically, it would be a tiny animal.
Okay. I make note of it, but I will keep my eye out and see if I can see anything small, like a swan, eagle, like kind of that kind of thing. Like
Okay.
a bigger bird. But I will make note of the songbird. Thank you for letting me know that. That's good to know. For other reasons, possibly.
So I think that in the role play, how Elantra discovered Yard's place of employment, I think that Elantra, being a crazy fucking person, just not okay, spent 3 to 4 hours like digging through like major public places to try to figure out if anything else like the museum would be a likely target for appearances. If it is, like Elantra thinks, intentional to try to cover things up, and I think that's probably how they would have come across the fact that like Yard works at the track.
You think you were doing this last night or prior to the whole...
Last night.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
So I think that Elantra's... I'm going to bring this around to affecting the rest of the party, I promise. I think that Elantra's plan for the day is like reconnaissance and like trying to figure out where the next appearance will be before it happens of these things. Be there. Because I think that would be really useful if we could figure out a pattern or what would be useful for them to appear and what their actual source is if it was in fact from a Kundali or something else. So I think Elantra, after the conversation with the dude from the Order, that's kind of what they explained the gang.
So it seems like you want to go to the museum and you want to go to the track center. Just a matter of what you're going to do first.
Yes.
I have a question for later, pretty much. But is there dog racing? You said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I might have found my spy animal, but.
Oh, okay.
I wrote down the Blue Bowl / the Grand City Track Center and Truffle Pig Racing Grounds.
Truffle pig.
I don't know how good of race animals truffle pigs are going to be, but
I may have taken some liberties with what Dow said, but
it's a very niche racing community.
It's very expensive to get into.
Okay, sounds good though.
I mean, if we want to go cover animal whole 9 yards.
I was thinking that me and since you've already been made by him, right?
Well,
have you?
Right? I have. I also
say.
have a way of looking different for a time.
Okay, because we can make a. I keep forgetting your character's name too. I'm sorry.
Is it L? Not
Is that L? If you wanna be a dog owner for a little bit, you can you pretend to be a dog racer. I don't know. We could do that, but yeah, if we want to spy on.
Yeah, I mean, as far as staking out the one place.
But yeah.
What's the duration?
It's.
That's not very long at all.
For disguise.
Yeah, disguise self is 10 minutes per level, so I get just under an hour.
Okay, mine's an hour per level, so I'd have 5 hours. But yeah, so plenty of time to. If I have to jump into dog combat, I could too. I can cast spells while in dog form. It's a new feat, but yeah. Are you still making your check, by the way, on what you were gathering information for? I'm sorry if I interrupted that.
No, we've resolved that. That was when I found out that Yard worked at the track.
Okay, I thought you were adding for an extra check. Sorry.
No. No, I was just trying to figure out how I learned that in game.
Oh, okay. I was like trying to follow, and I'm sorry.
So I think, I feel like definitely we want to go to the track, but do we want to go to the museum first? Knock that out?
Yeah,
probably. I think the museum first makes the most sense.
Yeah,
but I'm not entirely clear on what our goal is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what questions to ask or who. Because we're trying to recall events that happened 9 days ago at this point. We're trying to figure that out.
Well,
we can try and look through like entry logs.
The museum thing happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What I think we should ask about is we should ask about a Kundli because the museum is our tie for why a Kundli is in the city,
Yeah, we can ask
and
about that. Yeah.
we also don't know why they had to cancel the talks. And I'm curious how related those things are.
Yeah, we could definitely ask why it was canceled because I forgot that we didn't ask that question last time.
Well, I mean, I assumed it was canceled because of the
Yeah, same.
Spectres. But then we found out it had been canceled for a minute, and the Spectres were just a contributing factor to why the museum was closed that day.
Got you. Okay.
I think you do know why it was canceled. I think you found out from Som Nor that their speaker stopped showing up.
Right.
A Kundali stopped showing up is why they was canceled. It was expected to happen and it didn't, right?
Weren't there other speakers?
No.
Okay, so it was one speaker in a series of talks.
He was doing a series, yeah.
Okay.
So on that note, okay, that's I misunderstood that too.
Okay.
So that's actually kind of a thing. I mean, why would you plan a series of things and then just stop in the middle?
I think Kundali is against being held against his will.
Yeah, even if you were planning something, you would maybe plan every other day or something to get access to the museum. You wouldn't just have something planned and then draw suspicion to yourself by stopping.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the illusions are a cry for help.
Yeah, I don't quite remember who, but someone had brought that up as a possibility last week.
No, Elantra did, and I mean, I'm still not convinced of that approach, just because the spirits themselves do seem to be taking deliberate actions. And it'd be one thing if it's, I mean, the running theory for that is they're not really sure what they're doing, right? But it's just something.
Or like it's the best they can do without like, getting themselves killed or like, okay, so their illusory form, their like shadow self is being like held and tortured by something, or like some crazy shit like that's happening. That's where my mind is spiraling to. So if they just stop showing up, then they're probably, I mean, it's possible that they were like, someone cast Dominate Person on them or something to get them into the sensory deprivation thing. And then because they had their senses deprived, they like couldn't resist another spell to put them into stasis.
Also could have just been tricked into the state too.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the puzzle box, and it was open with these things floating above it. I mean, didn't we have at one point a theory that, well, the idea was maybe a Kundali was solving the puzzle box and had the sensory deprivation mask on as a extra challenge.
Yeah. There's also the possibility that a Kundali was sucked into the orb as their consciousness.
Yeah, or even accidentally.
Yeah.
Because we've seen well, at least Zell has seen accidents happen with this orb before, where the owner or the user of the thing didn't get the outcome that they were expecting.
Maybe the sensory deprivation thing was, I don't know how the pulling sensation would be on a crystalline creature, if it would feel that.
Well, I remember I rolled an Arcana check on it, and it was not your physical body, but your mind.
Yeah.
And I know the lens didn't draw you in. I mean, you could, as far as seeing the lens, I mean, Zell caught some glimpses of it, but it wasn't drawn to it by any means. So it's not like the sensory deprivation mask was to like prevent any sort of mistakes with the lens.
You do have the puzzle box if you want to try and investigate it further. As far as I know, you have not closed it or anything. It just remains open, and you've just been carrying it around that way. So
that's true.
You could theoretically, close it and lock it and try and see what it takes to open it if you're trying to figure out what it might have taken for him to open it.
Yeah.
So I had asked at one point if it's something that could be solved without visualness, like if looking at the thing. I think you said it did have some markings and like lines on it in certain places.
Yes, yeah. There's so it's a like dark lacquered wood box with bright shining like brass pieces, and they slide and shift all around, um, like a Rubik's cube turned up to 11, sort of. And in addition to that, there are lines running across all of these pieces that form different patterns depending on how you like mix it up.
So it's, I mean, so that certainly sounds like something that could be. Well, maybe, I don't know. It all depends. So, but yeah, I mean, certainly putting and closing it would definitely give us a clear idea if it could be solved that way.
Let's do it.
Do you want to do this
Go
in the middle of
for
the
it,
street?
Alexa.
No, I want to go to our room.
I have a long stay room.
It would also put us near the thing we're curious about. Maybe we go there.
Sure.
Also, do you guys have any other questions for Helibonia? Since
I was
Helibonia
just about to say, can we get up into the room without getting Helibonia's attention?
Percy's, when you left this morning, assuming you left out the front door?
Yeah.
I don't want to remove any possibility of you turning into a bird and flying out the window or anything.
No.
But Helibonia was not working this morning. There's someone else.
There's a wild Helibonia on the loose. Okay, so at least we would have to put more effort into finding Helibonia, but I don't know if we really had anything to ask anyway. So for Helibonia,
Not really.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know how reliable of a source of information Helibonia is anymore.
I mean, the only thing that would be good with Helibonia is if we need to get access to the keys again.
Yeah,
To the other room.
that's true.
Though I've yet to have a chance to use it, but no, I do not. Okay, never mind. Ignore everything I was thinking.
Okay.
It's hard to ignore someone else's thoughts, but
So the three of you head back to Percy's room at the Enticing Prophecy. I don't think there's anything particularly of note that happens, except Percy's, you see a flock of, they're pretty high up, but a flock of goose-like birds fly over the city, heading like southeast.
Okay, good to know.
What, am I going to become a goose owner now?
We'll see what happens. Play it by ear, the gooseness, or the dogness, or the wolverineness, for that matter. I don't know what we're going to get into.
Working at the desk at the Enticing Prophecy is a gnome woman, who greets you warmly as you head up to your room.
why don't they build a smaller desk?
Hmm?
Why don't they build a smaller desk? They have all these small races in a medium-sized desk.
Maybe they have some bigger folk. You don't know. You've only seen two of them.
I guess that's true. Just, Anyway. We're like off our ADHD meds this session. It's like...
So you're in the room. You've got a puzzle box. It's currently open. You could close it if you wanted to.
Yeah, I want to.
I think that's what we came to the room. If we get here and like, never mind.
Okay, so you close it. It's, I think, pretty clear that just closing it allows you to just open it again. But you could close it and then you'd have to like mix it up in some way, and that essentially puts it into like a locked sort of unsolved state, and then you'd have to actually do the puzzle.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand this to someone who isn't me to scramble.
Do you really want to make it that hard for yourself? or do you want to figure it out and like work back your way backwards, so it's easier to solve?
I think that it's important to leave it in a fully scrambled state because I'm assuming that's where the start point was before. Right? If we're doing this as a gauge of how hard it is to get it open, then it being easy to open tells us nothing.
I mean, if you purposely not randomize, you purposely make some moves to it where it would be in a scrambled state, but you at least have an idea of the same rotations and that sort of. You still get an idea of what it takes or what the general trick to the puzzle is, or not, I shouldn't say trick. The general approach to solving the puzzle is. I don't think you need to truly randomize it to understand that. Like, let's say I take a Rubik's Cube, right? And I know I twist one side left a few times and another one right or whatever, and to where I know how many twists I've taken. I can still look at the Rubik's Cube and still get the general concept of, oh, you solve this by twisting the things to get things in line. I mean, that's what we're really aiming for, is whether at least that's what Zael's thought was, is whether this puzzle requires visual aid to solve. Does that make sense?
I think so. I guess my assumption is that we know that it's at least doable without that because like we can follow that there are lines still on here. It's just a matter of how difficult that is.
Okay.
Right? Like
I mean,
knowing that it is possible doesn't tell us how difficult it is.
If we think that will give us info, I mean, go for it. That's easy enough. If you want someone to randomize it, Zell will randomize it.
What were you gonna say, Dolph?
I'm gonna say you could also just solve it multiple times if you want to do an easy mode and a hard mode. Well,
Yeah, that's
hopefully you could solve it multiple times.
We scramble it and we just get like, fuck.
Spend the whole rest of the session just rolling intelligence checks to try to solve this.
Yeah, that's why I was like worried because
Launcher, we're relying on you to solve this.
I do like the suggestion of easy mode first and then ramp it up if we need to.
Okay, so in that case, there's no need to randomize it at that point, right? It would just be.
Yeah, not like full on scramble it. I think just like
yeah.
Twist this a few ways, twist this twice. Something real, just like straightforward.
So you're just going to give it a couple of casual twists?
No, they're not casual. They're well thought out twists.
Okay. So Zal, I guess, you start rearranging this puzzle box, and when you stop, it flashes briefly, but the light only comes out along the lines that are sort of engraved throughout it. They only light up for a moment or two before fading back down.
But all the lines, not just like some of the lines and others not?
Correct, all of them.
Okay. So, knowing which twists and turns just made, easily reverse it. Do so in a reversal manner and just reverse it back to where it's open, I guess.
Are you doing that?
Who has the puzzle box? Is Zell doing this, or is
yeah? I mean, you were mixing it up.
You had it last, so I assume you.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Unless you want to hand it off.
Okay, you just reverse your movements and try and open the box, and it does not open.
Fuck. Zell's gonna hand it over to Elantra. Can you get explaining that it's not opening?
Yeah, I'll give it a little try.
Explaining that, I mean, it's the exact same.
So
It's where it's at before.
yeah, when you say give it a try, what do you mean? Are you going to like scramble it again and then try and unscramble it in the same way?
I
Because
just want to take a look at it.
what you've been handed is a box, and I mean, you just watch Zell make these movements and then undo them, and it doesn't open.
Are there like buttons on it? Are there?
So a lot of these pieces can be sort of pushed in and like slid around to enable you to twist to different segments of the box. So I mean, there's nothing that's like very clearly like a push in or a button or a switch or something, but there's lots of things that can be pushed in and slid around and stuff.
Is there a discernible pattern that I need to like align that would make it open, or like anything? Like, what do I think is the end state for the opening of the puzzle?
Give me an intelligence check. And I'll say with advantage because this test is like a pretty controlled situation. Okay, with a 20, there is a step that you're missing. It's not as simple as lining the lines up, but it is to do with the lines.
Can I cast dancing lights and try to direct the light along the lines? This is like not how the spell works, but
So you want the lights to like follow some of the lines in.
so when we closed it, the lines lit up, and I'm trying to light them up again.
No, the lines lit up when we scrambled it.
After you scrambled it, yeah.
After we scrambled it.
When we put it back, I'm assuming you didn't mention any lights after we solved it again, or put it back.
Right, it only lit up the one time.
So do the lines make any sort of designs or anything like that that's readable or implies anything?
I think with a 20 intelligence, Elantris, you're pretty confident that it's not any sort of writing. It's not like a pictogram, and they don't form like arcane runes that you're familiar with either.
I want to try to bring it back to the state it was in when I just watched a rat crawling across a wire that leads to this house. Sorry. ADHD meds. I'm not prescribed any. I think I need them. I think Elantra is going to. It just jumped to another wire. Stop looking out the window. Look at your computer screen. I think Elantra is try to return it to the state it was when we first scrambled it and closed it.
Okay.
That's already happened, hasn't it? Unless you scrambled it again?
He's putting it back to the scramble that you did.
Closed it, and then I want to bring it to that specific scramble. Because I'm wondering if when the lines lit up, that set its new default opening state.
So you roll it back to that state, and it does not open.
Do the lines glow again?
How long do y'all think you've been at this particular attempt? Or I guess since the lines lit up the first time, how much time do you think you've been spending?
I don't think it's been too long.
I don't think it's been longer than 20 minutes.
Oh, I was thinking like 4 minutes.
Yeah, I was thinking just a couple minutes.
Clearly I get more frustrated at puzzles for longer than the people here.
Well, we'll say you move it back to that state, and you're still unable to open it. And as you examine it further, after a couple of more seconds, the lines flash, but this time it is red. And then they go back they go back to their
Color
state.
was blue before?
It was I don't think I said actually. It was just like a silvery white before.
Okay.
Oh,
Like a
Red.
sort of
I'm
neutral
gonna-
thing. And they're red
I'm
now.
gonna unscramble it to the original open position, and then I'm just gonna leave it for a minute.
Okay. You can leave it for 1 minute?
We'll start with a minute. See if anything happens.
Okay. After a minute, nothing happens.
What about a minute and 1 second?
How about the time it takes me to run to the bathroom and back, real quick?
Okay.
A minute 4 seconds.
That's a quick pee.
A minute 5 seconds. Oh, I'm just checking in again with you. I'm gonna see if you'll answer. I'm assuming you're gonna walk away, and I'll just be saying this to Twitch chat. But...
I think I am going to use the bathroom real quick. So
a minute 10 seconds.
I'm gonna get water real quick while you narrate that, or get water yourself.
A minute 15 seconds. A minute 30. All right, it's just us now, chat. You know what that means, right? Means it's time to use your Prime Gaming subscription here at dalf.tv/32. What? That's not a URL. That's not a real URL. Everyone else left. I was telling people to subscribe.
Oh. So we took that made it into an extended break.
Yeah, you went, and then everyone else was like, I will also go. And the be right back screen.
okay, cock spears, listen up.
Wow, my mic is so loud on the stream.
It doesn't sound too bad. I mean, it doesn't sound bad in chat or anything.
I guess I'm just used to using like properly nice mics, and this one is a headset mic.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. Minute 45.
Would it be safe to assume that you're going to wait until something happens?
I would assume we
how
wouldn't wait for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, like how long are you willing to wait? Is 10
I think I'm going to give
it
it 5 minutes before I pick it back up again.
Okay.
Did you get any Prime subs while you're away? I was plugging it in the voice chat.
Oh wow, 39 months. Big. Welcome back.
Oh,
big level up. Everyone knows level 39 pretty important level in Dungeons and Dragons, as you've been no longer receiving benefits for leveling for the last 19 levels.
But maybe the next one.
Although you could go to level 30 in 4th edition. As far as I know, the only edition where you could go beyond 20.
Fourth edition is like the Middle Ages of D&D to me. Like the...
Not that long ago.
Well, I didn't finish my metaphor, Dalf. Because, like, your third and 3.5 is like, oh, ancient Rome, it's so good, but they built aqueducts, and the roads last forever. And then fourth edition is like, the Roman Empire has fallen, Europe is in darkness.
Okay, fair enough.
There's actually a shocking amount of good things happening, but the overall narrative is that it's all bad, and we're going to abandon all of it. And now we're in the Renaissance.
Okay, I that's actually a remarkably good analogy, I would say. And we, as Pathfinder players, are studying the classics, the Greeks and the Romans.
And for a time, things were shit.
Yeah, right now we're carving a bunch of marble statues with their dicks out. That's what this is.
And we're talking about how all of these ancient Greek figures were just really good friends, guys.
It sounds.
I know
Yeah,
it looks like
I-
they're rubbing each other's dicks, but they're just really good buds.
Eternal roommate.
I give blowjobs to all my good friends. It doesn't make us gay.
Anyway, back to the game.
God, I really wish that my girlfriend had walked home right at that very moment. I think that would have been an excellent explanation of what this game is like.
So 5 minutes pass roughly, and Elantra, you go to reach for the puzzle box, and as you do, like mid motion, the lines flash red, and the box rearranges itself back to how it was when Zael shuffled it.
Oh. What if? So hold on. Hold on. When it's open, it's physically open, right? Like there's an opening.
Yeah, the top lifts up.
Okay, so basically we're at the same spot, but just the top doesn't lift up.
No, we're at the spot after you scrambled it. It returned to the state right after it flashed white.
I think also just like a thing. Elantra would have written down the moves from open state to Zahel state.
Okay.
Okay, so we scrambled it up using recording our moveset, and it flashed white. And then we put it back to the original state we got it in. Tried to open it, didn't work. Handed it to Elantra, who tried the same. Except this time it
left
flashed
it for
red.
5 minutes, and then it went back to the scramble
Yeah,
state.
you put it in the scramble state, it flashed red, and then you returned it to the original state, and then it re-scrambled itself.
Yes.
So I think you're on to something when we say that we basically reset it. Because it's going back to the scrambled state that we reset it to, essentially. Right?
It's going back to the scramble state that we set it to.
I'm trying to like picture this in my head, but it's very hard. Like
Yeah,
the actual like puzzle itself.
Yeah, there's also magic involved, so some like the actual mechanics of the movements of the box don't necessarily make engineering sense. And there's like a extra dimensional space in the center of the box, which you do already know because Elantra shoved their arm in there. So yeah, there's some extra shit that allows this box to be more complicated than you would be able to make on Earth.
I think we can deduce that it's harder than it looks like to. I think it relies on visual cues as lights, right?
Yeah, that is an excellent point that I forgot about in my willingness to solve the puzzle.
Well, if the only thing that the lights indicate, it depends on what the lights indicate, which we don't really know. But one idea could be reset and fail, which fail also could be indicated by the sense that it
Reshuffles.
it reshuffles. I mean, the 2 times it flashed red was one time when we were already had it in the shuffled state, and then another time when we reset it back. Here's an idea. Let's scramble it a little bit more. Something completely different, not back to the result. Obviously, we want to record our moves so that we can still get back to the original state. But if we scramble it again and leave it for a few minutes, the same amount of time, what we say, 5 minutes?
Yep.
Let's just to confirm that it resets back to the first scrambled state.
Okay, so you make a bunch of moves. It is now in a state where you have not seen it before.
We'll call it Scramble 2.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And
Scramble 2. Yeah.
And you leave it for 5 minutes. After that time elapses, the lines flash red, and it shuffles back to. I guess we're calling scrambled 1.
I was going to call it Scramble Alpha. You know.
Okay. Well, let's mix up our identifiers here. Scrambled Alpha.
Prime.
So that being the state it was in when it flashed white.
Okay, so If all we've seen is white and red flashes, I still don't think that means visual aid is required. Especially if the thing reshuffles itself when it fails, if we're going with the sense that we've reset it somehow. But beyond that, I got nothing.
For some context, Kundali was wearing a sensory deprivation hood. You do know that that hood is magical in nature, but you do not know much other than that.
Oh, really? I did not. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that came up. That might have been episode 1, even at the end of episode 1. I don't know.
I think I remember that, but I
Hold
decided
your
it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically all of the magic items in that room you weren't able to get much off of because they seem to be a little bit on the more powerful side. So there's that. You also know you're one floor above him. You also know that Krizits are they have some inbuilt psychic sensitivity because they use telepathy to speak.
Do we want to go back down into Kundali's room? Zael wants to try to put on the mask.
We'd have to talk to the person up front and explain the whole situation. But yeah.
You did relock the door.
How do you do you need a specific skill for lockpicking? Or is the door out in the open? I think we said
it's like exposed to the hallway.
Yeah, but I mean it's a balcony, but it's not like you can see the ground floor can see up there or anything.
Right. It's not a balcony, it's inside.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was like a balcony open to the main building inside. So what check would a lockpicking be?
Disable devices for lockpicking.
Okay. Zael does have that. So we could try to get the keys, or we could try to break in. Yeah, well, Zael has a lot of that.
I can stay in my room while you do that, so it's less suspicious that there's a Minotaur hiding out in the hallway.
That is true. Yeah, I think Zell's pretty confident in his lockpicking skills. If we want to just,
I'm gonna start pretending to be busy in my room so that if I have an alibi, I can say that I was doing that.
Does Zell have a set of thieves' tools?
He has any tool, but no, he does not. So never mind. That's what I was looking for earlier, and that's why I went away from that that thought process to begin with. So ignore my thoughts. Thanks.
You have the Traveler's any tool?
Yeah, but I think that's only simple tools, not finesse tools type of thing. So
I'll check real quick, but I think you're probably right.
Shovel, hammer.
We might have to go back to normal human interaction then and go downstairs and talk to the person. So I like that. We can just do that and explain that we are on orders of the, our guild.
I'm down for both plans, even though we can't do one of them.
Well,
it says basically any tool that you can picture.
I will, if you want to try if you want to get it going, go for it. But yeah, that might be Plan B. Is talk. I think they'd be reasonable, but who knows?
I would feel better working above board.
Okay, so we don't have to do that if other people.
Yeah, and I think that the any tool can't quite. It could give you like one piece of a thieves' tools kit, but it wouldn't be able to give you like enough stuff to count as thieves' tools.
Okay.
All right. Well, if we have other plans, I decide we go downstairs. So I motion to start walking downstairs and to the the front desk person. Unless you guys had anything else, I didn't want to force it, but
no, I mean, so the fact that the hood is potentially magical, and the fact that we're missing something with the puzzle, it's thinking that the two might be connected, as it's a sense deprivation, but provides other senses instead, type of thing. Zell doesn't know how magic works very well, so.
So you're heading downstairs to talk to the
I have a
gnomish woman?
quick question before we do that.
Mm-hmm.
When the lights go off, what does it look like under detect magic?
It doesn't look any different, which is to say it is
Okay.
always magical. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I have to apologize to you. It does look different, and it's looked different for a long time. It becomes significantly harder to read as soon as Zael closed it and scrambled it. I'm sorry.
Wait, say that again?
Interesting. The School of Magic and like all the extra info that I can get beyond just it's a magical aura became significantly harder to read as soon as it was closed. As in,
it is like concealing its magic
much...
once it went into a closed state.
Oh, it's concealing its magic. So it looks mundane?
Not completely mundane, but you can still tell that it's magic, but you wouldn't be able to figure out. You'd have no chance of figuring out the School of Magic or the power level.
Did we know the School of Magic before?
No.
Okay, that's what we knew, the magic level, but not the school.
It's a much more powerful spell that holds it closed then than what it is just innately open. Am I deducing correct things, or am I not able to glean that?
You know already that there are a number of sort of layered magical effects going on with this thing. The only one that you'd identified for certain before was that there was an extra dimensional space in there, because you put your arm in it. So, but it's I think it's unclear how much of this is just the like holding it closed and how much is something else, and whether it could just be an effect that is there to hide it so that it's easier to move around or something. There's a number of possibilities, but there's a bunch of stuff going on with this box.
Can I try to like identify stuff on it again? Now
Sorry,
it's like a new day.
What do you want to try again?
Can I try like identify magical auras on it again? Now that it's like a new day.
You could, but I will say that given what I just told you about it being much harder to read, it's unlikely you would get very far.
Yeah, but I mean, I might as well. There's nothing left.
I'm sorry. Yeah, with a 12, you're certainly not able to tell anything from this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go to the front desk.
All right, sounds good. And I mentioned beforehand not immediately tell them that they gave us the keys, just in case, because I will honor the wishes to not be a snitch. But yeah, we are out. Is she available?
Yeah. As you come down, the gnomish woman that was at the desk was reading a book and promptly, lifts her head up from it and situates a bookmark in the pages, ready to serve you. Smile on her face and everything.
Hi, my name is Perseus, and I'm here on behalf of the Jade Oath. I actually talked to Helibonia yesterday about some business that we were conducting.
Oh, lovely. And you have a room here, yes? I think I saw your name in the ledger. Wonderful, wonderful.
Right by Akundali, which is why I'm actually talking to you right now. So there is a person we would like to talk to, Akundali. Unfortunately, he is. I think for a second. he's a crystalline man who was or a person, whatever. I don't know how to address a crystal ing, but that was deep in a meditative state, and we want to see if we can do a health check on him, please, because we might be we would like to see if we could just get talked if we can just get the keys possibly, if you can unlock it if you want. But this man we this is really important in the order of the guard and the secrets of the Jade Oath.
Give me a diplomacy check.
Okay. Oh my god.
With a raised eyebrow, she goes, "I'm sorry. The Akundali is not expecting any visitors. We have a policy that we're not supposed to let anyone up unless they are being expected. It's a privacy matter. You understand."
I do.
If it is truly official business, then an order from the city guard would be useful, a specific order, but otherwise I'm afraid I cannot let you in.
Okay. Do you guys have any ideas? I'm trying to think.
We could go to the guard and get our paperwork that we need. I'm sure Captain Zemnos would make quick work of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's definitely more than interested in our help, so I can't imagine why he would decline giving us aid in that matter. If anything, did at some point he say, anything you need, let me know?
Probably should let him know that there might be some shit going down at the racetrack, so the guard doesn't try and murder us too. Anyway.
Oh yeah, we're working with the cops.
Yeah,
we are.
So this isn't a matter of just like, fuck, now we gotta convince this one person. You might just be like, yeah, sure, here you go. What else do you need? Type of deal.
In my head, we were the bad guys.
I mean, thus far you have taken a sort of thieving approach to things. What with all the thieving you've done and whatnot.
Hey, confiscated. We're policemen.
It's
Okay.
collecting evidence. You know on the force or something?
If there's nothing else I can help you with, then please do feel free to return with that official order I mentioned, and I'd be happy to let you in. If there is truly something wrong, I of course don't want anything bad to happen to one of my patrons, but I also cannot breach their privacy freely.
That's completely fine. We'll get a warrant. We'll be back.
Got a warrant. God.
The calmest conversation about a warrant ever. Okay, so now do we want to, I mean, have we kind of put the puzzle box on hold for now? Or do we still want to, do we have any more thoughts on that?
I mean, if you want to play with it on the way over to the city guard, maybe you can do that. Maybe try and multitask, or we can go back up and you can try and solve it more. Either or.
Zell doesn't have, I mean, is not capable of solving this thing at this point.
I think wherever we're walking to, I have my I'm staring at this fucking box the whole time.
I'm keeping a 6-foot distance then.
You could just stay in the room and mess with the box while the other two head down to the central post again.
I guess that's true.
What does Elantra want to do?
Elantra's box obsessed at this point.
Well, here's my key. Lock it up when you're done, please.
Of course.
I got my good sticks in there for stick things.
So then Perseus want to head over to the central guard.
Sounds like a plan.
Central tower, central something.
The central post.
Central post, there we go.
Yeah, so it's not too long of a walk. Well, actually, it is a little bit of a walk, but it's not crazy. And you've made this walk the other direction before, so not a big deal. You're able to get there without too much trouble. And it is much like you saw it yesterday. There's a slow stream of guards people going in and out. There's a couple sort of gathered around the lobby area chatting, and there is the office where you spoke with Captain Zemnos. The door is open this time, and he is sat like spun around looking out the window.
That's the captain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is he monologuing? He's not, right?
He's not, but there's a heavy sigh that you hear as you walk up.
What's your charisma, by the way? Because mine is literally 10. So if you... I don't
11.
Okay, so we have the same mod.
Yeah.
This isn't a great talking party.
Unfortunately.
Mine's 14, but I'm not there.
No, but yeah, I was just trying to think about that. But yeah, so I mean, we really don't have to talk about it too much. Be like, hello, and I make our presence known pretty much. So we're not sneaking up on him. Does he turn around?
Yeah, he spins around in his chair pretty quickly. I think it's you have a recognizable voice, being a large man with a big booming depth to it.
And the horns and the bull face.
Yeah. Wait, dude. Whoa. Got something to say about my bull face?
Oh, you're back. Is you haven't solved everything, have you? That would be excellent if you're here to tell me that you're done.
We do have some people of interest, and we wanted to. Does the name Yard Trunk Block ring a bell with you?
Yard trunk block. Is that a black halfling man? I think he takes my bets down at the track.
He has short brown hair.
Yeah, that's the guy. What has he done wrong? He seems like such a nice chap.
You may be surprised to hear that a man who's works with gambling might be working with seedy people. Is the left hand ring a bell to you?
No, that's not. Is that a person or like a guild or something? What? It doesn't ring a bell.
A necromancer's consort.
Keep your voice down. Don't go shouting about necromancy in my city.
Okay. I go way too low accidentally, but that's just because I'm an awkward bull. But so I
close the door. He shouts to someone in the hallway, and a moment later, the door swings closed.
So as you may know, we may need to collect some more information about this person of interest. So we cause a ruckus at his place of work, I just wanted to alert you so the city guard does not immediately attack us if something goes wrong.
Would you like me to put a man on him? I can have someone keep an eye, make sure he doesn't skip town or anything.
That would actually be preferable if you don't make it obvious.
We've got a few that work for us that are a little on the more subtle side than myself. So yeah, I'm sure we can get that done without raising any suspicion.
I was thinking about turning to a dog before this, so that sounds like a lot less work on both our ends. So
you were gonna turn? You know what? I don't want to know.
Yeah, probably a good idea. So anyway, we also have another person. Does a Kundali ring a bell?
No, doesn't sound like anyone that I've run into in the city.
So
is that one of them noble types that comes sweeping through here every fortnight or so?
One of the intellectuals, with their fancy book learning. But anyways, We we need to talk to him. He is currently in a meditative state. He will not be brought out. We talked to him earlier, but we really need an order to unlock his end room. It's really what it comes down to is an order to just so we can open the door and try and figure out because he's the. I try and you want me to try and talk out the whole scenario, but I can just say
No,
explain.
yeah, that's fine. You give him a little bit of an info dump. Is there anything you specifically don't want to tell him?
The Helibonia gave us the keys.
Maybe the stuff that we've already taken out of the room.
That too.
We'll
Yeah,
leave-
the illegal
we'll leave that
things.
part out.
I won't bring out the illegal things. Yeah, but
I think we
Okay.
only need to give him like. We don't have to give him too much. Just that this person's in a meditative state.
I would
We couldn't break it out of him.
say tell him that you along with the somebody who works at the inn did a wellness check, and that's you saw that he was in a meditative state and you couldn't wake him, and when you couldn't wake him then you left and then left to get official authority.
yeah, that's pretty much that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, pretty much that. I just couldn't eloquently say it, but yeah, pretty much the whole scenario, except for the illegal shenanigans.
Right, so you just need an official order to open up this, what is it, an inn room that this
we didn't
guy's
want to go.
stuck in?
Yeah, we didn't want to go through illicit means to open the door. Cause a ruckus or anything.
You want I arrest him, or you just want to get in there and have
This
a
is
chat?
this is a wellness check more than anything, because we can't wake him, and
you should also bring up out of character. You should also bring up that he hasn't left his room since the time skips started happening.
Yes, that too. That part of the info dump.
So we think that there's a connection there because the first guy worked at this inn.
Yes.
Right.
Just show him how the dots are connected.
So you think he might be connected, but is not the perpetrator? Is that? Am I catching your flow right?
Yes.
I see. Well, I can write that up for you real quick. I don't really have much of a problem with that. It ain't anyone gonna come down on my neck on this one. So anything to speed up your investigation, just know that if it gives you any trouble after you wake him up or whatever, feel free to bring him to any of the posts and we'll throw him in shackles as needed, I guess. And
that should.
I'm sure you can find a medical facility if he needs that as well.
Very much appreciate. Where is the medical facility, by the way? Just as we're about to leave.
He'll slide over, and there's a like map of the city up on the wall in here.
Okay.
And he'll just like writing down this order with his right hand. He'll just like almost completely blind slam his fingers on the map with his left hand. It's right here. That's the closest one, at least.
Fantastic. Thank you. That may be useful. All right. Do you have anything, by the way, Tim?
Nope, you got. I mean, we got what we came for.
Awesome. Well, I guess he gives me the order.
Yeah, it's a pretty like rough and ready order. They don't have like a big form they have to fill out or anything quite that bureaucratic, but there are just like a couple of lines that he has in there about like the what sort of investigation it's tied to, and it's by the power of Captain Zemnos and all that. And there's just like a sentence for what specifically opens such and such room at such and such inn to assess the state of the resident within, whatever.
Fantastic.
So you get that sheet of paper. There's a signature on it and a big stamp he slaps down on it.
Thank you very much, Chief.
That should sort you. If they don't accept that for any reason, then let one of my guard know and we'll sort them out.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. And then I head out the door, I guess.
Door! Someone swings the door open.
Thank you. I get through the door. I guess we go back to where Elantra is solving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we go get them first. Go up to the room.
Yeah, let's go to
Elantra, since you've been, it sounds like attempting to solve this thing while they're away. Give me an intelligence check.
We call that above average roll.
It's not. It's a natural 7. Or no. Sorry, I only have a +4 to intelligence. It's not a novice skill.
It's a natural 12.
Yeah. It's fairly average.
Actually, give me 3 more.
1, 2, 3.
Told you it was above average.
Okay, now give me a knowledge arcana check.
There we go.
Okay, you've done a bunch of twisting and turning and not really made much progress into figuring that part of it out. Or at least it like how that works with the lines and the lights and stuff. But after you spend some time doing that, I think close your eyes just to like clear your head a little bit and focus and think a little bit more, and you start picturing the box. And as you do, you sort of sense the lines in a way that you didn't when you were just looking at it before, and feel like you can manipulate them somehow without your hands. And I think then you open your eyes, look down at the box, and part of one of the lines is lit.
It's lit.
Part of the lines is lit. I think I close my eyes again and just try to like meditate in on that feeling.
As you focus on this, it's difficult to maintain this level of focus and concentration on this. But reaching out, you are able to like almost like move or like extend the light down the lines, and you can you know whenever it gets to a cross, you can pick a direction and move it further down whatever direction, almost like you're following a maze. And if you open your eyes at any point during this, you'll see that where you've sort of sensed yourself moving along these lines, with all the difficulty that it entails, you see that the light trail has followed. But after 5 minutes, it flashes red, and then all the lights go out, and it unscrambles or rescrambles or whatever back to its prior state.
Alpha. Okay. I am going to use Elantra's patented maze solving method, which is simple. You stick along the right wall with the line the whole time.
I'm gonna pee real quick.
Also, every time I say Hyundai Elantra, my girlfriend gets sad because that's her old car that she loved. Yeah, so I think I start doing that. I don't know if I have enough time to do that to like finish it before they're gonna get back, but I think that's what I'm doing, is just trying to like run the maze.
Okay. Give me. Let me see. Give me 8 intelligence checks.
8 intelligence checks.
Okay. Stop. You.
The last one didn't count. He said stop.
Yeah, the last one didn't count because you don't need it. That's some hot hand rolling you put together there.
Let me tell you, I wasn't even looking at the screen. I was just pressing the button and like looking up at the wire where the rat was earlier.
So, having had this new revelation, you're still able to, because you wrote down the steps to get the actual like movements of the box itself in place. So you're able to knock that part out pretty quickly, and then you set yourself to focusing on moving this light through, and as you do it, you start getting a little bit better at the actual concentration aspect of it, and you figure out the path. It's like as you're sort of like rotating the cube in your head and moving this line around, you find where you're supposed to get with it. And from there, once you figure out what your actual goal is with moving this line or this light across these lines, that speeds you up quite a bit. And eventually you get the light there and open your eyes, and the box flashes white, and there's a light click as the top sort of unseats itself and is openable.
Elantra makes a noise that I cannot replicate right now of excitement and like pride at having done this.
And once that top pops up, what you had seen earlier of the box's aura returns. So it's no longer sort of hidden its magical nature. And I think right around this time is when the other two return.
I knock.
With your order.
I knock before I open the door. Hello?
Is this the door that I'm in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I opened the door.
Okay, cool. We just, I guess I let them know that we got the order, so we can go ahead and check on the Kuma over here.
Wonderful. I've solved the puzzle.
Fantastic. So
Really?
what was it?
And I try to explain it in the most convoluted way possible that doesn't make sense.
Okay, witchcraft. Got
It's
it.
rather like have you ever painted with watercolors? And you can sometimes, if you create a groove in the paper, you can blow them along with your breath. And it's sort of a similar idea, but with the arcane energy that runs along these lines and lights them up.
That reminds me.
So you can solve it with your eyes closed. Got it.
As a matter of fact, I had to close my eyes in order to solve it.
Wasn't that convenient? Well, it explains the deprivation thing. Okay, cool.
And the whole reason we went down this track, or at least the possibility of it, means he could have been tricked to opening it, or what was inside.
The orb surprised him. I guess the orb would be in there with the lens, or the lens was in
The
there?
orb could fit. It just won't go back in. And the lens too. I mean, both of them. You said about. I think you said 6 inches. The opening was about 6 inches.
Mhm.
Like it's a little wooden box. I mean, we would know whether that stuff could fit in there just by simple.
Yeah, the orb is like 3 inches across or something, and the lens is like 5 inches across. They could definitely fit.
And they could both fit.
I need 1 moment.
Okay. So if in this time you want to like go to the front desk and have handed over showed her the order, She will gladly rummage down and grab the ring off the key off the ring, and I think she would walk up there with you when you went to do it. When you went to open
You mean
the
we
door?
don't just get handed all of the keys?
No, she's definitely only going to give you the one key, and then she's going to want to walk up there with you to make sure you don't try and do anything else.
All right. I mean, that's
Does
fine.
the authorization we have include moving him to medical treatment if needed? Is that covered under the assess the state?
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of
I think it is.
Cool.
It's just sort of like general. The guard can sort of judge a situation as when they come to it as to what needs to be done,
Cool.
which includes like arresting them or getting medical treatment for them, and you're sort of lumped into that same authority.
Yeah, so I'm good with that. I mean, she's going to see the. I mean, is she okay? She might freak out at the magical items, but
So can I ask Dal
Yes, yes.
what the DC was on solving it? Or is that still relevant?
Yeah, you can know. It's DC 20, but it's
Mhm.
not only one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
And as you've worked out already, there is a time limit. And each attempt, quote unquote, takes an amount of time. So that's where the number came from. The number of checks for you to make. Barely got in under the buzzer.
I honestly didn't think I would have time to do it before they got back.
Yeah,
Well,
I was really.
I mean,
I was scared it was going to open it.
it's
I bet.
several minutes to walk there, and then they had like a couple minute long conversation, and a couple minutes to walk back. And each like discrete sort of solving attempt can't take more than 5 minutes, right? Because the box scrambles itself back after 5 minutes. So, okay, so the only thing that happened while you were gone is the gnomish woman that was at the desk is now up here on the third floor with y'all, having handed Percy's the key, ready to open the door. She wanted to monitor, but she's not going to get involved.
I guess we did all the illegal stuff earlier anyway. So, yeah. So we, open it up. I warn her, do not be alarmed, but there may be some magical items in here.
And don't touch anything.
Oh, I have no intention of walking in the room at all.
Oh, okay. Good. Didn't want you freaking out or anything. I give a little elbow.
I will let you handle your business. I will wait out here.
All right. Let's pop that puppy open and then look at that orb again, I guess. See what's going on.
Yeah, so you open the door and find the room much how you left it. The orb remains floating in the air in front of a sort of pink Krizit man with a sensory deprivation hood on.
And if everything just looks the same as it before, Zell's just going to walk over and take off the sense deprivation mask. Now, we've done that before, right? That's nothing.
Yes, I believe Percy's took it off before. There's a series of steps because there's a bunch of different little parts to it, but you can get it done in like under a minute. It's not that big a deal.
Okay, and we'll put it on.
Okay.
Oh gosh, one sec. Google started playing a song. What?
So with the hood on, you are completely blinded and deafened.
And that's it. I'm assuming. Correct?
I mean, That's all you like immediately notice for sure. It certainly would help you focus on something because there's absolutely no distractions possible.
Yeah.
It fully
And with
blocks out
the
your other senses.
I mean, and with the Elantra's description of how to solve the puzzle, at least a somewhat vague understanding, it definitely seems like um it could be used along with the puzzle for puzzle purposes. So that's
Yeah.
all. Take it off. It's really just same thing was going on the hood, but now that we kind of know how the puzzle is solved, it kind of answers itself there. But we had the warning and might as well use it. Is there anything else in here we wanted to? That was really the main things that Elle wanted to get in the room to check. And that was kind of before we knew how the puzzle solved or how the puzzle was solved.
I'm gonna cast message to Kundali again.
Okay.
We're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. No, I think it's just we're trying to reach you. Please respond if you hear me.
You get that same sort of short, almost staticky feedback just for a less than a second, probably, and nothing else. And a similar sense, I think, that you got the first time that your message didn't quite get there.
Can I make a? It's not called insight in this game. Sense motive check.
What are you trying to figure out?
I don't know if it'd be sense motive arcana. I'm just trying to figure out if do I think that. I guess it's arcana. I guess I'm trying to think. Will this fundamentally will sending a message to this person work if they're not in their body?
Yeah, give me an arcana for that. It depends on how similar the effect that he's under is to what happened with the lens earlier, right? Because you did run this test on the lens earlier and find that Zell was able to hear it, but not necessarily automatically. There's some level of awareness of the situation that might need to be involved for them to hear messages like that.
Cool.
So yeah, perhaps if he's completely unaware of what's going on, then maybe there's just no way you're going to get to him. And maybe if he, entered this state intentionally, he would be a little bit more able to interpret sensations from outside.
I want to cast Detect Thoughts on this Chrysalis.
Excellent maneuver.
Well, firstly, there are thoughts.
Great.
So he's not brain dead.
Yes, so he's conscious and has an intelligence score of 1 or higher. Second, number of... What's the area on this, actually? Oh, it's a 60-foot cone. Are you intentionally only including him in this?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, then the only thinking mind in the space is his. And the intelligence score is 18.
Okay.
Okay, surface thoughts next. Assuming you're just going to keep going until you,
Yeah.
exhaust all of the information you can get. The surface thoughts that you get are, it's like there's sort of a general sense of, slight confusion, and like, you hear specifically like, I saw you already. Don't you work somewhere else? This place isn't quite how I remember it. And things kind of like that.
Can I make a sense motive check on that? Like,
Sure.
is he wandering a waking dream?
Yeah, give me a sense motive. From that, he seems to be wandering a space that is not immediately obvious, that it's not real. But there's stuff that is just off enough that he's noticing it. Right, so he's sort of questioning specific details of his environment. Things like, I've seen your face before, but on a different body? Like,
right,
little
like
things that are just weird, like weirding him out, but he's not like, he's not saying anything specific about like where he is or anything like that.
So it almost sounds like he is almost like in a dream, or at least the type of perception you have while in a. So I mean, it does sound like he could be trapped.
I'm getting the vibe of like when you like have like a weird dream and you're like, I was with my best friend. He didn't look or act like my best friend, but that was Matthew. If that makes sense.
I think one other thing you'll get from this is that these sorts of thoughts are new. Right? He hasn't spent 9 days wondering this same stuff.
So whatever, I guess, am I getting the vibe from that like the whatever, I guess, illusion or whatever this is, he's getting to the end of its like randomness or like realism? Like he's been there long enough that it's starting to fall apart?
Yeah, maybe something like that. Certainly something has changed recently. And it's I guess fooling him less than it probably was before.
Okay.
I relay all that to the group. And I don't think I can milk this for anything else. So, any ideas? I feel that we should move him.
Yeah, I mean, it gives us information, but I don't think it tells us what to do right now. I think. Good.
I think Elantra's thinking we need to talk to this guy. Like, talk to him.
Do you have an idea how to do that, or?
What spells I got? What spells were in his binder, Duff?
You skimmed it and identified some of them, but there's some others that you weren't immediately familiar with.
Was sending on there?
Yes.
What level spell is sending?
Like a 4th?
It's
so 5th
expensive.
for wizard, actually. That's rough.
That's...
Let's not try that. That costs money. I mean...
It's such an expensive idea if I have to pay him back for the spell. But if it's like, oh, you saved me, don't worry about it. Like, I don't know. God, I hate capitalism.
I
I
wasn't
think-
say anything. I'm not a snitch, but
I mean, we have we still have other avenues to follow too. If we're worried about spending resources.
Here's a ethical dilemma and a half. You think that him taking damage would pull him out of the state?
I mean, I've already. Well, to be fair, you're right. I've not hit him hard enough to leave lasting damage.
couldn't you do non-lethal?
Could.
I mean, yeah, but you'd still be fucking punching a,
Yeah.
from what we can tell at this point, innocent man.
I'm just
Well,
introducing the idea of
watches this
non-lethal.
While someone watches us this time, do it.
Yeah.
If he accidentally gets body slammed, if I accidentally drop him while picking him up.
Just accidentally people elbows him.
I think. I don't know. I mean, we could. Do I have any spells that would do what I want to do? Guys, self-identify. Trace destiny. Haste. No, I just have. I think we should move him. I think we should move him to somewhere where we can. I don't know. I want to like get
You're trying
him,
to get him-
I want to get him awake. I want to. I don't know if we need magical help to do that or what.
How do people usually take people to hospitals in this world? Would we even know the norm for that?
I mean, I think it's normally you either walk there yourself, or if you're not able to, someone carries you or puts you in a
I can
in a
carry
cart
him.
or on a horse or something. You
I
can't like
roll
call
knowledge
the
local
ambulance
to see?
though.
I don't want people getting freaked out with me carrying a man. It's unconscious down there.
Can I roll like knowledge local or knowledge nobility to see if he has health insurance?
I mean, we'll
That's purely a joke.
yeah, no, we'll assume. I was just contemplating whether it would be fully free to get treated, and I think it would be.
because this
So,
is a
like emergency treatment would be fully
a
free, but
modern
if you wanted to
civilization?
if you wanted to like buy a potion or something, like a health potion, that's not free. Anything that's sort of preventative, I guess, would cost you money. But emergency
you're
care would be free for
saying-
everyone.
is even the fantasy people have universal health care.
Well, I mean, listen, we spend our time in fantasy places that are better than our own, at least in some respects.
God, I'm so fucking sad now. My insurance coverage started today. I was uninsured all last month.
I mean, if someone could just cure light wounds on me, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's. I'm trying to think if that would mean it would be a bigger business or less of business. I guess. I don't know. I guess training to be training the spell would be just as difficult as learning modern medicine. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, there's tiers to it, right? There's still plenty of like fully organic and like folk medicine stuff where people are just rubbing leaves into their wounds and things like at home. That stuff still fully happens and has varying levels of effectiveness. And there's still some mundane healthcare that happens even in emergency situations. But yeah, they also have the tools of like restoration spells and cure wound spells and stuff. But in general, magical services are very expensive because, as you said, it requires special skills that are either, taught in a university somewhere or learned through years of experience on your own or something like that. So,
Okay.
magic expensive. Actually,
So
especially
good on them
here
for
because magic
universal
usually
healthcare
has
and
to
such
be
as this.
licensed.
So good on them for sorting that universal healthcare out with the monetary consequences or costs.
Nice. So I guess we're gonna pick him up. I guess we take him to the hospital.
So I mean, what's the idea?
Yeah.
Are we actually taking him somewhere to?
to the hospital?
I think that's our best bet to see if there's or even to
I
the
mean,
order
we have to go
of
to his front yard and figure out what happened to him via them.
Yeah. So I guess put this guy in an okay place so we don't have to get a person to open the door each time
yeah.
with their belongings or whatever.
guess
I
at
don't
this
know what we're
point
gonna do
we
about the orb though.
I mean, at this point, the room needs to be stayed locked. Zell still is
Yeah. So
not happy about the idea of just leaving orbs floating around. But
I'll happily pay for the room. I'll just do that.
well, I mean, we have orders from the guard now. I think we could just tell the owner or the person just
We need this room to stay locked, but we'll need future access to it to deal with these magical items that are potentially dangerous. Is I think what Elantra says with their accent and all.
Yeah.
Of course. It looks like there's some serious business going on in there. I don't want to get involved and impede any official investigation. So you can just come to the desk and I'll leave a note if I'm not on duty. So whoever is will just give you the key.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you very much. All right, and I guess
Fully forgot what that lady's voice was.
Like we're
Wait,
just
what,
out on the honeymoon.
So
Are we gonna-
what are we doing with them? What's the plan?
I think we need to get to someone who can. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't think we have a plan. I think we're just kidnapping a man, but it feels right.
I thought we knew where the hospital was when we asked that guy.
Yeah, I think that's a step. I think getting them to the hospital to like figure out what state he's in. They may have. They probably won't have better arcanes than me, but maybe they will of like getting in touch with him.
I mean, I think maybe the act of getting him away from the orb too is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure.
Or we just could kill him by putting too much space between his consciousness and his body.
Do I think that would kill him?
Do you think
just throwing it out there?
But well, actually, if he was in the 60-foot cone of detect thoughts, so his consciousness has to be in his head.
Or it could have been in the orb.
Or it could have been in the orb. How long what was the duration on that?
Up to
1 minute
5
per level.
minutes.
Is it still within 5 minutes?
Sure.
Can we move him out of the cone, like put him behind me and see if I can still hear his thoughts in the orb?
You could just rotate yourself.
Oh, okay, it's not a set cone area.
Yeah, to figure out
Yeah.
it's wherever you are. So so you do that so that you're only looking at the orb and not him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you still hear his thoughts.
So we know his conscience. So now we pretty much know his consciousness is in the orb, right?
Yes.
So I think it's a pretty easy conclusion that, well, one, he's trapped in there. He could have been tricked. What do we
I'd
do
like
with
to
that information?
cast message to the orb. And say, Kundli, if you can hear me, please try to respond in kind.
This is slightly tricky because message requires a creature as a target. So you cannot target the orb. You would have to target him. Well, all right. Let's say you do it while you have the detect thoughts up. You can sort of direct it at the thoughts that you sense.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'm sorry. What were you saying? As the message?
Kundli, I'm a friend if you can hear me respond in kind. Well, the message doesn't allow a response, so I'm just hoping he has the message cantrip. Or can telepathically reach out to me.
Okay. You do not hear the staticky sort of response that you've been getting.
Does that also kind of imply you don't hear anything back?
And the thoughts that you were hearing seem to be interrupted. And then a few moments later, who are you? What? I've not heard anyone in my head in days. What do you mean you want to help? I don't understand.
I have very little time to explain. Casting message again. But you are not within... the place you are now is not within Enodim, nor is it, to my knowledge, entirely real. What's the name of the orbs?
Thought cores?
Yeah, the sort of working name the Seekers have is thought cores.
You're in what we at the Seekers of the Jade Oath call a thought core right now. You've been there for, as far as we can tell, 9 days. I think I just paused there. Did I say my name was Elantra? I said my name was Elantra, I think.
Okay. Okay. There's a pretty long pause. And I think you start to hear a bit of a flurry of thoughts, and then your spell runs out. And the pause continues. The thoughts were just like that you did hear were just him like mulling over what you had told him.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to like put pieces together or something. And then maybe like a minute later, you hear a response back. It must be a mindscape that I'm trapped in, sort of a almost temporary demiplane, usually constructed by a powerful spellcaster, but it must be inside the orb. In my room. Well, you must be in my room. And the spell cuts off. And then there's another message that comes in later.
Excellent.
In my room, there is a binder of scrolls. You can... There's one in there. It allows you to enter a mindscape. Maybe the door created from that spell will allow me to leave. Or at least you to enter.
I think I respond with a message if I still can, and I say, I think I know how to enter via the orb, but I will try to cast the spell. And then I'm gonna try to cast their spell, I guess.
So, yeah, flipping back through that binder, paying closer attention to the ones that you didn't immediately recognize, trying to find something that seems to match the description that he gave you. You eventually find a spell called Mindscape Door, which does pretty much what he said. It lets you create a door to enter a mindscape. You just have to know that the mindscape exists or be inside of it when you cast this.
Okay. Well, it's a 4th level spell, which is notably one higher than I can cast. For free, at least.
Yeah, so in order to cast this successfully, you will have to make a check. I believe it is just a caster level check.
If you fail the check, is the scroll worthless?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this
Oh no,
doesn't
sorry.
get
If you don't fail, if you fail by too much, then the scroll is worthless. If
Okay.
you just fail by like 2, then you can try again.
And what is the DC?
Okay, so it is the scrolls caster level +1. Yeah, and you're just making a caster level check.
I don't get the thing. So
Right. This is not a check to bypass
Yeah.
spell.
but I do get double advantage, right?
I don't think so.
I tell everyone to stand back. I'm going to try to cast a spell. I don't know.
I
Exactly
am
what
leaving the
happened.
room. Perseus leaves the
Will
room.
just takes a step back. He's in the corner.
He goes. I go back to my room.
That warning was entirely for Perseus to not have to be in the room.
I don't run, but I hurriedly walk.
Okay, so this is actually super attainable. It's a DC 8.
You just had to say something.
I get this on a natural 4 or higher. Right?
Yep.
I hate those odds. Oh,
Okay.
thank God.
Unclench.
Unclench.
So as y'all were talking about moving this body, and then a quick aside, Elantra decides to try something, and now, suddenly rushes over to this book of scrolls and starts flipping through it, or pulls it out from wherever you had it, or wherever it was, and starts flipping through it, finds this one, and then I imagine a long period of silence as you attempt to figure out how to cast this spell. And then you do. The scroll is like consumed by a silvery fire as it provides the final component for this spell's casting. And then a bluish door opens up in front of you. A classic video game oval portal between you and the orb that hovers in the room.
We can all see it, correct? This isn't just like
Mhm.
only for Elantra. Okay. What the hell's that?
That is a door to a mindscape, which our friend seems to believe that that he's in.
Can we get out through? Is that door gonna stay open?
There is a time limit on it. It's going to be a little over an hour.
Okay, we're fine.
In we go.
In we go.
Perseus?
I think you have to yell for him.
Yeah, guys. I'll hear you yell after you say my name a little louder. Really? Okay. I agree. Really.
Could you leave the key if you're going to enter
yeah, of course.
some sort of weird magic? I don't...
What are my manners? I give her back the key. We'll try and lock it if we come through the door, and if you within 45 minutes you don't see us come back, maybe call a guard and I don't know.
Sure, if you're not back within the hour, I will absolutely let someone know. I just don't want a magic portal in my inn for too long.
Trust me, don't feel good about this.
I'll just close this and lock this
It
behind
will
you.
not last long. We must hurry.
Okay. And then I'm the last one.
There's a Zell leaps through. Or walks through.
Excellent.
I guess it's just a door. No, Zell leaps through, just for dramatic effect. just full send, diving through the door.
That's so fun because you leap through the door or through through this portal, and as you like roll through on the other side, you are alone in the same room. And then a moment later are followed by your two compatriots. There is no orb in here, there is no puzzle box, there is no Krizit sat on the floor. Everything else looks the same. There's a bed, there's a staff with a bag of books on the floor, an ice chest, a desk, a chair, and the door to the room is closed behind you. And this portal, of course, that you just leapt through is sat here.
I was getting real worried the portal was going to be gone.
So what was the stuff Chris he was talking about earlier? Like, I don't quite recognize it. This looks a little bit different or something like that.
You didn't work here before and stuff, so I think you might be at the
Yeah.
museum. So I
Or
think
yeah. We gotta rush, right? We gotta get going. So anywhere we
Yeah.
think he might be.
I think we go to the museum, and the whole time I'm trying to cast a message to him.
Okay. So you're rushing towards the museum.
That doesn't take long, right?
Assuming it doesn't take us like 30 minutes to get there, type of thing. We understand that we're on a time schedule here.
Yeah, I mean it does take time, but you definitely would have enough time to go to the museum and come back before the door would go. It's gonna be like a 20-minute round trip, though, I think.
Okay. Do we? I mean, is there anything worthwhile noticeable while we're running to the museum? Like, I'm assuming we don't see anybody. Do we see anybody?
So as you're rushing through, you even see as you walk down the stairs, you see Helibonia working the front desk of the inn as you leave.
Oh, what? Hold on.
You go
You
out.
see Helibonia working?
Yes, you see Helibonia working.
Helibonia, who was working the last time he was here.
You walk out into the street and find it looks much like what you saw when you were last in the streets. Except the shops, the houses, all seem to be empty. There's not really, not that there was a ton of activity or like noise, I guess, in here, anyways. But you don't see people walking through the streets or anything. You don't see any like street side like vendor carts or anything that are open, or rather the ones that look open don't have any people there.
But we saw Helibonia.
You did see Helibonia.
Okay.
Everyone give me a perception check.
Where's my
You
die?
guys are good at this.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I'm actually pretty good at that.
Oh, here
I
we
put a
go.
lot of ranks into it. I didn't realize I did.
21.
Okay, I think all of you, as you're walking through the streets, notice different things about the city that are not quite right. Percy's, you spot some birds, but they're not the birds that you've seen here so far. Or rather, they're almost the birds you've seen here so far, but like the songbird that you heard earlier this morning, it's just not chirping quite right. You could see how someone who wasn't as familiar with birds might confuse it for what you did here, but it's definitely a different species of bird. Oh yeah, Elantra, I think you spot like a shop, like a bookshop or something, but the name of the shop is misspelled, and it's like a little smaller than you remember it being. Zell, I think you see like a food cart that was here, but it's not selling the right kind of food. It's like not even close to the right kind of food. It was selling like little fried, almost like sushi wrap sort of thing. So, like something wrapped in a seaweed and then fried in the real city. And what you're seeing here is like just like a fucking turkey leg. Like it's completely different food, but it's in the same spot in the same sort of cart.
Okay.
So you continue moving through the city, picking up these little things that are not quite right, but you know, if you hadn't been paying close attention, you could easily pass over and not notice. And eventually, as you start getting closer to the center of the city, you start seeing some people. None of them are familiar to you. Actually, one of them is familiar to you. You see Sam Noor walking through the street, but a little taller than when you met him the other day. And people just seem to be sort of walking aimlessly around. Like Sam's not walking to the museum or to his house. He's just sort of walking like perpendicular to those two things. You're nearing the museum. You were casting message, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were you trying to say?
I think it's just like Lost Dog style. A kundali? A kundali?
As you approach the museum, you get a catch, basically. Like suddenly you feel like your target is finally in range, and you get a response back. Yes. Oh, I'm over here. You hear it because this hits your ear like a whisper. You hear it not from the museum, but to the east, a little bit down the road.
This way, quickly, and I start heading that way.
Give me another perception check, everyone.
Oh. Thank God. Nice.
Elantra, you are too focused on trying to find this person and listening for where their messages are coming from so you can track them down to notice this. But Perseus and Zael, you both clock that some of the people behind you, like their gait sort of changes once you walk past them. And some of them are like turning to look at you in a sort of weird way. And some even seemingly stop what they were doing and begin to follow.
Oh God, are we in Inception?
As you rush
Is that
down
what's
the
happening
streets.
right now?
I turn around and try to address the people that are like looking at me. Hello? Are you guys? Can you guys hear what I'm saying?
They keep walking at you.
How fast are they going? Are they like briskly walking, or
No,
just
they're
meandering?
walking at a standard walking around town pace. They're not. They don't look like they're in a hurry, but they don't seem to acknowledge your words at all when you turn around to talk to them. They just keep walking to you.
I start walking towards them.
Okay, is everyone else going to continue going towards the voice or the message voice?
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I think I'm more than fine with ignoring the
All right, yeah, I'll turn around once you guys start walking away.
Well, I mean, I think
Yeah.
we're running, right? I think we're hustling because it's all
We're
at
like
the moment.
speed walking. Actually, no. I think we got excited when we heard him. I think Elantra did start like jogging.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
Give me a sense motive, Perseus, before you turn around and run off. Okay. Yeah, you can't really tell what is going on. There's definitely something weird about these people, but you didn't get any like clear sense that they wanted to help or harm you or anything like that.
Okay.
They're just kind of acting weird.
I mean, me, the player, is like they're gonna fucking kill us, but you know.
I don't know because I was expecting possibly to get hit or not. But yeah, I'll just keep hustling then.
I mean, as long as we can outpace them, type of thing.
Yeah.
Unless we hit a wall of them and then then kind of fucked. But
So you continue rushing down this street. It's not one that y'all have seen before, but it's a little bit out of the way. At least, like it doesn't seem to have anything of importance super close to it. No big buildings. It's the opposite direction of the track center and the museum and stuff. And eventually, you come upon a pink Krizit man who is standing in the middle of the street, glancing around, trying to spot anyone that looks different from the rest of the people around here.
Yeah.
All three of you hear in your heads then. Not in your ears, in your heads. My goodness, I'm so glad to see you. Someone new, a face I haven't seen before. How did you find me?
We can explain that when we're back in the real world. I have an unsettling feeling in my stomach at the moment.
Great, yes. You opened a door, I assume, to get here? Where is it? How do we...
Back to the hotel. The enticing...
Wait, what was the hotel called? Was it Enticing Dream?
The Enticing Prophecy.
Enticing Prophecy, okay.
Enticing Dream might have been a little on the nose.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I would have looked at the sign up front of it. Would it have been any different? Would I have noticed that?
The sign to the inn was the same. There
Okay.
was nothing wrong about the sign or the insides of the inn at all that anyone could notice.
Okay.
Apart from the fact the wrong person was working at the desk. I believe this to be a mindscape inside that stone orb. I sensed it briefly before, well, it just was gone. That was days ago, but only yesterday did I begin to see people. This is as you're rushing through the streets, by the way. Did I begin to see only sort of reused faces? It was very odd. Everything just seemed like a dream since yesterday.
Yesterday. And yesterday was the day that it went down at the museum, right?
Well, it's also the day we've discovered him too. Also, the day I hit him with a stick. Just saying.
First two sessions were all yesterday.
I think I start to fill him in on the ghostly folks.
Images of people in the city. That doesn't... How could that be? Is that
That's
my
what
fault?
we're here to find out. I don't know. It is awfully convenient with it having started the moment that you since you've been here. So I'm wondering if the things, not even if it's your fault, but if they are connected.
What were you
Feromi, be
affiliating with
lenient. Have I
someone like?
been here for 9 days?
Yes.
10 days now? How can I be
Yes, as
such
of
a
this moment.
fool?
Well, if you don't know what you're looking for, it's hard to find it.
What are you doing with the thought core?
I was not doing anything. As I said, only
Oh yeah.
briefly sensed it before it was gone. I was solving a puzzle.
Does the name Yard mean anything to you?
Yard was the man that gave me the puzzle box. He was the right-hand man, I suppose, of someone I met at the museum. We got off talking and told me about this box, and I couldn't resist the offer to take my hand at it.
Do you remember who it was at the museum?
Of course, it was a lovely dragonborn nobleman of the name of Mapotov.
Pote. Does that name mean anything to Andra?
Not to myself, in or out of character.
Give me a knowledge nobility. And as you get to this part in the conversation, I think you run past that spot where Percy's and Zell, you had first noticed the people sort of following you weird. And as you start running through, they all just resume their normal behavior.
Real quick, does that need to be trained in order to roll for it?
Yeah, all knowledge skills do.
Yeah, just making sure. Thought so. So okay.
Don't worry. I got at least a +8 in all the knowledge skills.
You don't recognize it.
Wow.
Which means that if they're of a noble family, they're not of a noble family on Dolrast. Should be where your knowledge would be most
Right,
centered.
and Dragonborn are mostly not on Dolrast, right? That at least checks out.
Yeah, so it's a little unclear whether he's just posing as a nobleman or if he's just a nobleman from a different continent that you're not as familiar with.
Cool. Ironic you used the phrase right-hand man.
Why is that?
Well, I've personally had a previous run with Yard when he was working with an organization known as the Left Hand.
Curious name. You lot seem keen to name things after parts of yourselves or parts of animals. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
It's not my choosing of the name. But nevertheless, rather unsavory dealings with that one.
So you continue rushing through the city, and I think some of the things that were a bit off, they're sort of cleaned up a bit when you run back through. Sort of like things are in a higher resolution when Akundali's nearby.
Interesting.
So eventually you make your way up to back to the inn. I assume conversation continues the whole way. Are there any specific questions you want to get out before you get here, by the way? You got a bunch of time, so.
I think I would like to offer explanation ahead of time of why we took his things.
Oh, okay.
I want to preempt that a bit and say we had assumed that you were, when we found out that you were like doing all this, we assumed you were related, and we assumed you were intentionally within the thought core or like using it somehow. And so
left hand.
yeah, like we like explained that like we thought we were concerned that he was like up to no good, and so we wanted to like try to disrupt the no good. Knowing that there was powerful magic at play, but not knowing what it was.
Fascinating. The assumption of ill intent. It does seem safer as sort of a defense mechanism than the assumption of good intent. I appreciate you not simply killing me. That, I suppose, would have been an option as well.
Yes. Not one that we like to use as
Unrelated. Does your
first
kind get
resort.
bruises?
I gotta pee really quick. I'll be right
Okay,
back.
go ahead.
I'm actually also going to take this moment to pee.
Okay. Bruises, Oh, the slight discoloration of the skin. No. No skin, you see. He motions around to his crystalline form.
Just curious.
Right.
Actually, do want to ask him more details about anything he knows about Mopotov.
Mopotov.
Because I mean that is definitely a person of interest now. So any information we can get off of him regarding that would be
Sure. It was he attended one of my talks at the museum, and we just got off chatting afterwards, and he had mentioned, we were talking about what we got ourselves into in our free time. He mentioned a love of puzzles, which I also share, and that he had recently stumbled upon one that appeared to be particularly challenging and had a magical element to it. It was eluding him, and he offered to give me a try after I showed my interest. It seems, however, that perhaps his interest was not as noble as mine.
Did he ask you anything specific about your talks? Maybe anything that you have unique knowledge of?
No, now that you mention it, we did not spend much time speaking about the topic on which I was presenting. He fairly quickly moved the conversation towards puzzles.
Welcome back. We'll wait till Launcher gets back before recapping. But so you have no idea why you could have possibly been targeted.
No, perhaps I was just an easy mark. I don't rightly have any idea. It's curious. He seemed such a genuine fellow.
I'm back.
Welcome back. So first off, Chrysalis don't get bruises, so we're in the clear there.
Good.
The launch is back, right?
Yep.
I heard that. Okay. So and his discussion with Mopotov. Sorry, I fucking
Mopotov.
Mopotov. We discussed this not too long ago. I'm terrible with names, real or fake, or real or fantasy alike. But no real discussion happened there. really kind of directed the conversation toward puzzles and suggested he try this one out. So it just kind of seems like Kundali was baited into the puzzle box without much preamble or no real indication why he was he was targeted, other than someone who could open the box.
Wait, who gave it to him?
Yard did.
Yard, presumably by the direction of
Mapota.
Potov. I know I'm saying it wrong.
Okay, so I think we got information for that we can go back, take that to the guard, and then go confront this guy.
I mean, we don't know where he's at, but we still can have an idea where Yard is at.
Yeah, Yard. I was talking about Yard.
Oh, okay. Assuming, okay, but here's a question. So we got into this, and we're kind of assuming Akunali can go through the door with us, but are we positive he can?
I'm just technically he and I are the same level of smart, but I'm assuming he understands this spell better if he's someone who can cast it.
True, and he
with that.
suggested it. Then he suggested
Yeah.
using it. Okay.
So you come up to the enticing prophecy, or what appears to be the enticing prophecy, bursting through the doors. Kundali throws a greeting at Helibonia, which is returned in kind, much how you would expect Helibonia to respond to such a greeting. And you head up to the 3rd floor.
I yell, "He has no mouth!" as I run by. All right, I will probably be the first one to go through that door, unless y'all have any other business.
No, no. Everything in the room looks the same as we left it, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Okay.
There is a glowing blue portal in the center of the room still. I think it's been like 25 minutes, maybe, since you first threw it up.
I mean,
You've probably been in
we've-
here about 20 minutes.
We've kind of accomplished what we set out to, right? We don't have any more.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck here.
Yeah.
So you enter the room. I imagine the 3 of you looking somewhat relieved. And Kundali looks
Yes.
around. Where is it?
As well.
You said you had created a door here. Where is it?
Shit.
Well, Percy's has already jumped through, so he would have seen. I mean,
Oh,
where
has he?
Percy's just was. I think so. Percy's was like, without further ado, I'm out. Are you through, Percy's?
I mean, if you guys gave me permission to, I mean, I don't want to leave you guys behind, but if I was told by one of y'all,
Oh, I love you having jumped through already.
I mean, yeah,
I don't like how you said that, Dov.
So I think Kundali starts saying this, and then Percy's disappears.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Where did he go? There's no portal here. How?
There is a portal here. What the fuck? Can I magic my way out of this?
And I'm assuming Percy's at any point can come back through if we were to, like, take it too long or anything. It's still there on his side.
Yep, it is still there
Yeah.
on your side,
Yeah.
Percy's. But yeah, no one has followed you yet.
I assume by your spell scrolls that you have some arcane ability.
More of a psychic adept myself.
Are you able to detect magic?
I start taking one of the sheets off the bed and I throw half of the bed sheet through the portal if I can.
Okay. Yeah. Part of a bedsheet appears in the room, sort of suspended in midair, attached to nothing.
I dangle it like a cat toy.
Can we see the portal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're describing it from his perspective that can't see.
Yes.
Great. Can you grab onto that sheet?
Sure. And to answer your question, yes, I did just look at my spell list and I can cast Detect Magic. He reaches down and grabs the sheet with as quizzical a look as a man with only eyes and really not much else for a face can give.
Okay, so our friend Perseus has that on the other side. And in theory, if you follow the bed sheet towards its source of tension, it should pull you through.
All right. I guess you would feel a pull on the other side, Perseus.
Yeah,
that would let you know that someone else picked it up.
I'm going man fishing.
I hate that.
So with a yank, a Kundali is pulled towards the portal, with the bedsheet disappearing through it as he approaches, and then he moves right through it. Bedsheet,
I knew it!
bedsheet gone, and is sort of thrown into the opposite wall.
Tarzan's into the wall.
Is this some kind of trick? Is this more?
I wish it were.
More of my mind just fooling me? Have I only dug myself deeper in this wretched place?
No, I assure you that I'm real.
He reaches out and grabs your arm. You feel real in every way, but what is this portal that... How did you get here if there is no portal here? How did your friend leave?
Oh, I can assure you with every fiber of my being that there is a portal here. As to why you cannot see it, that remains.
It's got to do with the thought core.
It does, doesn't it?
Everyone, give me an intelligence check.
Ooh.
What?
What's the modifier? 21.
What
Modifier's
the
1, not 21, but I got a 20.
That's a natural 19 because I have 10.
I rolled a 6, 7.
Ouch. Well, the two scholars of the group not coming up with much. But yeah, I think a 19 is probably a little shy. But Zal, you have a sort of eureka moment. If he was trapped here against his will and without knowing that he was going to be trapped here, and that this place seems to sort of respond to him in a way that it wasn't really responding to you, that it might be constructed sort of unintentionally by him, like the core might be feeding off of his memories of the city.
Okay.
In order to construct the space, and he might be tethered here in a stronger way than you are.
Yeah, I mean he can't leave his own dream. He's the one creating it. Okay. Explain the thought to the rest of the party, obviously.
Yeah, so I guess he might have to find a natural way out, like within the dream space itself. You might not be able to just yank him out.
I would like to mime casting the spell using prestidigitation to make a bunch of sparks and stuff to make it kind of seem like it's happening. I'm trying to get him to imagine a portal here that he can walk through. It's a real Hail Mary of a thing.
Okay. Give me a bluff check with advantage. You're just sort of going over something that you've done before, and it's your wheelhouse. Not great. Why are you pretending to cast a spell? I don't. What are you trying to do here?
Zahel, you said you explained to us, like what you think is happening, right? And
Yeah.
he would have heard that. So I'm just saying, well, I was thinking that perhaps if you saw and understood that there should be a portal here, you might see the portal here and be able to leave through it.
I see. Interesting theory. Perhaps if I cast the spell myself. He rushes over to the bag of books up against the wall and pulls out his leather-bound scroll thing. Scroll binder.
Took?
Yeah, the one you took already. He flips to the Mindscape door spell that you already cast and tries to cast it. And the rest of you see a portal open. It doesn't seem to do anything. I don't understand.
But it does.
Oh, it does something.
What you see a portal. It worked.
Yes.
But it didn't because He walks over to where the door should have appeared and just sort of waves his arm around it. Nothing. And then just sits down on the bed, sort of dejected.
And perhaps we need to find you another way out.
What other way could there be?
Completely random. No real. Actually, no. There's some thought behind it. Who has the eyeglass?
Lens?
Yeah.
The monocle or the
The one that we found orbiting the.
okay,
orb.
the actual lens.
Yes.
I think you do.
Do I? Okay. So, wait. Does he has no? Wait. Yes, he does have eyes. He does have eyes.
Yes, he does have eyes.
Here, try looking through this, and hand it over to him and see if that does anything.
He holds it up and begins looking around. Should I look somewhere in particular?
Just give it a few seconds. Actually, no. I mean, do you see anything around the room? Try looking around the room too.
I don't see anything different, really. Everything's a bit amber.
Whoa.
After a little while, he freezes, and a illusory version of him appears in front of his body. Curious. He's like
Does that
looking
change your
down at
perspective
his
at all?
arms and legs, examining. Well, this is very strange. Perhaps. Where did you get this?
It was floating around the orb.
Mm-hmm.
The same orb that we're guessing trapped you in here.
I see. So it was in the box then, I must assume.
If it's not yours, then yeah.
It is not. How very bizarre. This must be in some way linked to. You said there were illusions of people running around the city. Surely this is related. All this time he's like examining his fingers real close and like waving his arm in front of his face and looking at his clothes and stuff.
When you say his, do you mean like real body his or
Both.
new body his? Great. Love that. Love that for him.
After a little while, he'll like try and walk through where the portal should be as the illusion, and still nothing will happen. And then after a little while, he'll just sort of zoink back to his body.
I like
Well,
it zoinked.
An interesting theory and certainly a fascinating item. I would love to examine it further when we're done with this, but I unfortunately did not seem to help my predicament at all. I appreciate you coming to help me, but I wouldn't want you to be trapped here as well. If I'm destined to stay in this place forever, then best that the two of you leave while you still can.
We'll figure something out, even if we don't get you out now.
Well, I at the very least know that this place is certainly some sort of construction, so perhaps I will be able to find a way on my own.
How much time do we have left on the door, by the way?
You probably still have like, it was up for 70 minutes is the duration. So you're probably only halfway through right now. Another 35 minutes left.
Do we have any idea? I mean,
and he summoned a second door, which has the same duration and started later. So,
oh, that's true.
Which you saw appear, by the way, Percy's from your end. You would have seen the second door come up.
Oh, I would have freaked out and like put another bed sheet in that one too, and dangled. There'd be two bed sheets if I found another one. You decide if I do that.
No, absolutely. Yeah, a second bed sheet appeared through the portal, but
okay.
I think everyone on this side was a little like not that concerned about it.
Almost about to cry. My friends are dead.
I think that we've all but exhausted what we can do that would be effective here.
The only thing I'm thinking is like, do we have any understanding where the phantoms appeared in the real world type of thing? Like, it started here, went to the museum. Does that tell us anything of where there might be a way for him to get out, or not really?
I mean, you can like go over his whereabouts the last.
Yeah, that's like
yeah.
kind of ask him,
if you want to try and line things up.
Yeah, kind of explain what he remembers doing for the past however long he recalls being in here.
Sure. And before I go over that, just to clarify, Percy's on your end, you do not see like bodies of Zell and Elantra or anything like that, right? So currently you are alone in a room with Akundali's
kind of like
frozen body and two portals and a bed sheet, right?
I'm just picturing like the Diablo 2 portals.
Yeah,
Diablo
no, that's 100%. It's a video game portal.
Yep, that's fine. Yep, I think we're in the same boat. So
yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was clear that your like whole bodies went through this portal, so it's a slightly different situation to what happened to him.
Yep, nailed it.
Okay, so you start running through, like you have one of you at least had that list of like all the places and times where these disturbances have been spotted, right?
Yes.
That you got from the captain? So you can
Yes,
start
I do
running
have that.
through that with him while you still have some time in here. And he'll start on the two opposite ends, right? Like the beginning and the end. I was at the museum just this morning. I went to give my talk, and that's the first time. Well, after that was the first time I started to notice things getting a bit, I don't know, stale. And then he's like going over many of these instances. I don't really remember anything remarkable, but of course, the first one, after I solved the puzzle, I walked out of my room. I left the inn. I wanted to go find Mapotov to give him the good news to discuss that I'd solved it, and I couldn't find him. I figured I would run into him after one of the talks again, so went back about my business and gave my next talk a few days later. There's sort of a concerned look about his face this whole time as he leaps back through his memory of the last week and a half. And what he does remember of his whereabouts does seem to line up. Or rather, half of it does, right? So some of these incidents are a person fell unconscious at X place, right? And some of them are, we saw some people running around weird at Y place. His memory of things seems to line up with the Y column.
Okay.
Right. So he remembers being in places where people saw images.
Okay, so in that case, I think we can kind of, if he doesn't come to his own conclusion himself, explain that wherever he's going in this dreamscape seems to be affecting the real world. That these phantoms are appearing, I guess, of people he remembers. Does he recognize all the people that we discuss in the briefings or whatever?
He'll pick out a couple that he recognizes the names of, but many of them he won't recognize the name.
Okay, so maybe, but it could just be people he's seen.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you don't need to know, but of course we can't really describe them to him. But I mean, with that in mind, I mean, I think we can, if we run out of things to figure out what to tell him, at the very least, we can ask him to kind of stay here while we figure this out. Otherwise, he's causing more disruption.
Of course, yes. I wouldn't want to give anyone additional strife beyond what I've already caused. I will remain here while you sort things out, I guess. Do give my apologies to anyone that this has affected. It was not my intention to cause any harm. I simply wanted to teach.
Of course.
Go while you still have time with these doors open. They said don't want you stuck here as well.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any other thoughts, or do we just want to jump on through? I'm out of ideas at this point.
No, I think I just thank him for being understanding of all our potential bullshit. But all wizardly and eloquent. And then I think I leave.
We'll get answers out of Yard, don't you worry. And jump on through.
Okay. You appear in the same place that you left. Percy's everyone has come through except for Akundali. And the portals remain for, a couple dozen more minutes before they collapse in on themselves and disappear without a trace.
I'm glad you're not dead. I was dangling those things forever.
Quick question.
Thanks, it helped.
Did you leave the bed sheet in the portal, like after everyone came through?
As soon as they came through, I would. I mean,
Okay.
if I would try, and if he gave up on trying to get it, then I wouldn't be keeping him in there.
Okay.
Would it cut the bed sheet in half? I guess.
I haven't decided if it would cut it in half or if it would launch it back at you.
But either way, we'll catch Percy's up on the what happened in there after he jumped through.
Okay. Understandable.
So we've confirmed the connection between our illusions and Akundali. We've confirmed that Akundali is a good guy. Unless he was a very convincing liar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he was a mark, but for what end, couldn't figure out. I mean, they didn't get any. They didn't sound like they got any specific information.
Well, they got the thought core out. He opened the puzzle box for them.
Yeah, but did they need him to open up the puzzle box? Or was that more of a trap?
Yeah, so just to jump in and pepper in a little bit that maybe the other two missed, because this was the conversation I had with Giselle and I were here. The conversation with Mapotov after one of the talks, Akundali said it didn't dally on content from the talk really at all. It very quickly moved on to their mutual interest in puzzles and led to this puzzle box.
Okay. So less interested. Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, Zael is ready to go to the track and track down Yard.
We should check in with the guard to see if the guard on Yard has spotted anything from afar.
Guard on Yard.
Yeah, I guess we should go back and report, and then see if they got anything. Otherwise, then we can go and confront him.
Do you
Hopefully
think
they didn't fuck it up.
The cooking fat that the guard who's watching Yard uses is lard?
In a perfect world, yeah.
Do you think that they're multi-classing Bard?
Anyway, so
if they were an esports organization, do you think they would be the guard from the guard?
Oh my god.
Yes.
So you're heading back to the central post to report to the captain, or are you just going to go to the track and try and find whoever's tailing Yard?
I think we need to check in with the captain to find out who the guard on Yard is. I'm just waiting for myself to get server muted at this point.
Yeah, if anything, just to let him know we're about to go over there.
Yeah. Also, I think we should drop the Mapotep.
Yes.
Do what?
Mapotep name.
Oh yeah, sure.
Just to see if we can get anything there, or what that guy's whole deal is.
Trying to recall. You didn't drop that name the first time, right? You said Yard in the left hand was all you mentioned before?
Yeah, we didn't know the name before.
Yeah, we found out that name from Akundali.
Ah, okay. That's weird, because I've known the name all along. It's strange.
Huh, crazy how that works.
Okay. So you head back to the central post. I think there's probably a quick conversation as you're leaving the inn. The gnome woman that works there is going to she's certainly interested in whether or not you've resolved the issue, or if you're going to need to come back and go in the room again. If there's still, like magical humming portal in her room, etc.
No, the portal shall be closed momentarily. We will likely need to be back.
Right. Well, at least that's one thing. That's no longer a portal in my inn. Wonderful. Okay. Good luck, I guess.
Thank you.
So wait, this is the owner?
It seems that way.
Okay.
She's used words like my inn a couple of times. So you make your way back to the central post?
Yes. Sounds like we want to...
Okay, it's less busy here than you've seen it other times. It's like lunchtime now, I think. So it's a little quiet. You find the captain still at his desk, but hunched over a bowl of something. Oh, well, welcome back. Excuse me. Wipes his mouth. Is it all sorted? Are you...
We've got an idea of... Well, I don't know if we got an idea or... We have some... I don't know. Does anyone else want to start this? I'm not at a loss for words.
I wasn't expecting you back this soon.
So Akunali seems to be a victim of what we're not sure. He's trapped inside the thought core we mentioned. We really need to track down Yard. It seems like he's our only lead at this point to figuring out what's really going on. Any updates from your man?
We also have another name to add to the list.
Yes.
One Mapotov, and we've narrowed down why the illusions are happening, where they're happening, and which ones are connected, and which ones are simply people who've passed out.
And hopefully put a stop to it for now.
Or at least localized it to one place.
Well, that's great. Sounds like you are pretty much done, I guess. Well, close to it at least. If all you need is to find this Yard fella, I did,
Well,
as I said earlier, and sent someone out, and I actually just a few minutes ago got word back from her that he is at the track center. Seems to be working. It's kind of a busy day down there today, so he might be there a while. Not really sure what their schedule is today.
We will need to likely apprehend him. Additionally, we think that this Mapotov person, a Dragonborn, is also involved. I don't know if that's their real name. They would be nobility, or at least wealthy, to have been at one of the seminars museum. I don't know if they're impersonating nobility or if they're simply from somewhere beyond Doloras, but I've not heard the name before. Furthermore, we still have them, and this is less of a criminal issue, we still have the matter of trying to find a way to get our Krizit scholar back into his own, back into this plane and not the mindscape that he's in right now.
Well, I don't care none about getting the so and such back into his body or whatnot, as long as these problems around my city are stopping. But
well, if we don't get him out of there, there's no telling how long the things will last. We asked him to stay put, but if you would leave him hanging...
Right,
Who
of course.
knows?
Well, listen, if you've got someone that can go down for this business, that just makes it all the nicer for me. So, uh, if you said these folks are dangerous, this yard fella might be dangerous. If so, y'all should go in and deal with that. I'll have my guards person nearby, of course, if anything comes up. We'll also spread the name. What's this? Mopatov around. I'll make sure everyone working the
Sounds about
streets
right.
knows the name. We'll keep an eye out. They're not a local. Maybe a little harder. They may have left town or something. It's been a while.
Well, if they're working with Yard, that's a connection. But yes, I think we shall go to the track and attempt to track down our old friend.
Well, that's yeah. Good luck with that, of course. Here's and he'll write down like a name and like a brief description. Um, Rena's the one that I sent to work to follow this particular guy. She'll have red hair. She won't be in uniform, but she usually wears, just like a black sort of cloak when she's working undercover. Maybe some bright pants. Should be able to meet up with her there if you need to.
Thank you.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Yep.
I think we head our way over there then to the doggy races.
All right. At this point, I think you've walked past the track, or at least not too far from it that you would see it. It's not a small building. So you'd have a decent enough idea of how to get there. It's pretty close to the center of the city, so it's in the same sort of ballpark as the museum.
All right, I guess we look for where the betting is, and then see if we find a. Do we have the description of him as the short halfling, light brown hair? We have that description, so we need to
Yeah,
look
well,
for
I mean, Elantra's seen him before.
that is very true.
Mm-hmm.
But as you approach the Grand City Track Center, it becomes immediately clear why it has the name that it does, the Blue Bowl, because it is a similar construction as most of the other buildings in town, with that sort of cob and like round shapes and stuff, but it is painted like a light blue all across. There's some speckling in it. It's not like a solid blue, but it's pretty bright and very blue. Pretty sizable building. It's sort of like I mean, it's a lot like a football stadium or something. It's like a big oval thing with rising stairs on either side and a building, like an indoor area with like ticketing and stuff, ticketing and betting and things. And in the center is a big field, a bunch of different surfaces in there. There's like a smaller, like grassier track in the center. The outer edge is much more worn down dirt, seemingly for like the larger animals that race here. And going on right now is a race of. Give me a knowledge nature check, actually.
I am training this finally. Ooh, that's not gonna be good though.
Those are turtles, right?
Yes, they're from the deep speed tunnels. Ironically, they're actually a species of tortoise, but the first human settlers to venture down there didn't give them the proper name in common.
So as you walk up to this place, what you see are racing around the tracks they're sort of like bulls, but they're a lot bigger around the shoulders, really. Their horns are angled a little differently than what you would expect from a normal bull. These are an animal not native to this area called aurochs. Or they're like giant cows, sort of. And they are stampeding around this track with jockeys sat on their backs, guiding them around just like you would see on a horse race.
Definitely turtles.
Definitely turtles.
I stand in awe. These creatures, I don't think haven't seen them forever. I've only seen tails. Are they native to the area that we're from? Right? Not right.
They're seen on parts of this continent, just not this far west.
Okay.
So you would see them probably a little bit, really more like central in the continent. You would find them. And they're also seen on a couple of other continents, but so you, Percy, certainly have seen them. Elantra, I don't know if you've seen them or not, but you've definitely read about them.
So is this place like huge where it'd be an issue finding this yard guy?
So there's a race happening right now, of course, but there's also this big bustle of people around the ticketing area, and an even bigger bustle of people further down, deeper inside. It's a lot of people shouting numbers and names and waving slips of paper and stuff. So there's a lot of people here, but it seems like, I mean, the vast majority of them are patrons, and it's pretty clear who's working and who's not.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go up to one of the people who works there and ask for yard, pretty much.
Should we look for the guard?
We can.
The guard for yard.
Yeah, guard.
What's her name? Renee.
She got fancy pants on.
Rena.
Right pants.
Rena. Like Jenna with an R.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can I like scan for Rena?
Give me some perception checks.
Oh,
Come on, eyes, don't fail me now.
One's that quick mass.
Wow.
Percy's, I think, a little distracted probably by these majestic creatures storming around this track in
so cool.
such an orderly manner that you wouldn't expect to find from a beast this large, perhaps. But Elantra and Zal, you both, I think, are able to pick her out pretty quickly. She is standing a bit off to the side, but is still like trying to show a pretty active interest in the races. She doesn't want to look like, a narc in a corner. But you can kind of tell that she's a narc in the corner.
Excellent.
Awesome. Exactly what we wanted.
He did only say she was more subtle than him.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to characterize these guards as too competent because they have been fully incapable of discovering
doing
anything that
anything,
you've
yeah.
discovered in one day. They had 9, so
Really, they clearly didn't talk to the first victim for more than a few minutes
To be fair,
about
is really
anything
difficult.
relevant. I don't
it
know.
it would be, I would say, very difficult to get anything relevant out of Helibonia. I think if this is the first case in a line of weirdness, you're probably less interested in it to begin with, and more likely to just jot down whatever nonsense they're saying and move on with your day.
Fair.
But yeah, so you spot this person, like leaning up against a pillar, looking at the racetrack and like examining some tickets that she has. Human woman, red hair, matches the description that you were given.
Hi there. Is your name Renna?
Yes.
Excellent. You're the person we're looking for. And then I do not elaborate for an uncomfortable amount of time. And once a few seconds pass, I say, I'm Hyundai Launcher. I'm with the Seekers.
Ah. She looks around
Code
briefly
word is Petunia.
and then will just like scoop an arm around which one of you three is closest and direct you to like an area with bathrooms. You know, like a little outhouse area.
I think that I'm actually going to... How long does this spell last? One moment. I want to see how long disguise self lasts.
I think it was 50 minutes.
Yes, 10 minutes per level. Okay. I'm going to explain something to you real quick and then probably do some magic. Yeah, the person that you've been watching, presumably.
Yes.
I hope you have been watching them.
Yes.
Will likely know my face. We had a unpleasant run-in in the past. So I think I'm going to make myself appear different, if that's all right.
Okay.
I just don't want to freak you out. I know magic is weird.
Are you like not gonna have an officer of the order around here when you do this, am I? You're allowed to do this, right?
I am licensed for this.
Oh, good.
And then I'm gonna disguise myself. I look like a 5'6" human woman with tan skin, freckles, and like very curly brown hair.
How high is the vertical leap?
Normal clothes with the right amount of eyes.
Okay, important. And crucially, how high is your vertical leap?
Well,
if you got to think that long, it must not be very impressive.
I'm trying to roll some dice here.
Nice. Got ups. 4 ups.
49 inches.
Hell yeah.
That seems like an awful lot, but okay.
Listen, my solution was 1d4 and 1d10.
She looks like she can jump that high. That's all.
Yeah. So she's got powerful legs.
To be fair, visually her legs are 5'6" woman. Actually, 6-foot man. Or non-binary person, I should say. I just misgendered my own character.
It happens.
It happens.
You haven't actually met them, so it's a little harder. Okay, so you change form right in front of this person's eyes.
I want to like be a little out of sight when I do it.
Yeah. She pulled you off into a sort of side area. You're like behind the toilets right now, so like no one's gonna see you. That was she didn't want to have this conversation out in the middle of everyone, so she pulled you off to the side already.
Great.
Wow, that is impressive. Okay. Just like that, I gotta get me some magic. So what's the play here? I was just sort of watching this guy, keeping track of him, but I don't really know what he's done. I don't have a lot of information.
Well, we didn't have a ton either, but he was our own lead. So what he did is he trapped someone with a magical device that he had given them. They didn't know it was a trap, obviously. He was the only one who's seen them since the illusory people have begun running around. So we need to apprehend him for questioning, and we have reason to believe he may be. He probably will either fight or flee. More likely flee.
So what do you need me to do? I can just be watching an exit, make sure it doesn't get past me.
Yes, you are here to lend the authority of the guard for us. And that is an excellent use of your abilities. Just to be a second line should he get past the three of us.
Right, well, he's currently taking bets over, and she'll like sort of lean around one of these old toilet houses and point down at the section where that big bustling area where people are like shouting names and numbers and waving tickets around and stuff. He's at the last window.
Okay. Is it like busy right now? Like he's surrounded by people?
Yeah, it's very busy over there.
Is there a line, or is it just like a kind of like
it's a little bit
Lord
of
the Flies situation?
It's a little bit of both. Like there's a line, but there's also a mass of people that have just sort of built up around the line on either side.
So like getting drinks at a bar.
Yeah, actually kind of. It's sort of like people are lined up to put in bets, and then people are just sort of hanging around to see the results of their bets or to collect on things and stuff. So part of the process seems more organized than the other part of the process. Maybe you'll want to wait until the races be stopping. It's a little packed over there right now.
Yeah, I guess.
Can we see him at this point?
Not from here.
Okay.
I'm gonna get food and drink him natural while we wait and eat, and if that's possible here, I'm assuming there is. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait until like there's some. I don't know how much time you got. 50 minutes left in disguise, right?
Yes, the disguise will last for 15 minutes.
Okay, it's already been cast, so we can possibly wait until like, yeah.
Well, I mean, he doesn't recognize myself or Percy's, right? At all. There's no way. I mean, actually, is he easy enough to spot himself based on the description we have? I mean, I can't imagine there's too many halflings by his description, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a safe bet that you'd be able to spot him. There's not a ton of people working here, really, and they're identifiable enough by like being behind desks and things. And also, from what you've seen in this city, there's not a ton of halflings here. Period. So it shouldn't be too hard to find him, especially since you know he's in that general area.
in that case, I'm going to Zael's going to try to get a little bit closer, kind of maybe blend in with the crowd a little bit.
I do have an idea. It's an
Okay.
I could turn into an animal and make people want to get away from the animal in the corner, and the crowd disperses, and then we get this guy. There's no crowd to weave through.
I
Or is that
think
too
we
much?
just wait to the end of the
We
race.
just wait. We wait. Okay, fine. Yeah. Well, let's wait then.
We wait to the end of the race.
Wait till the end of the races. As long as it's
Right.
under 50 minutes, that's the only thing.
Even
Well,
if
I mean,
it
so we-
even if it's over 50 minutes, once we go loud, I don't need to be disguised. This
Okay.
is just so we don't tip him off immediately.
Okay, I
before
thought you
we're
wanted
ready
to
in
like.
position.
I thought you wanted to like confront him in disguise.
No, no.
That's why I was kind of putting a timetable. Okay, yeah, then we'll just wait.
No, the disguise is just so we don't blow the cover immediately.
Okay, now that makes sense. Sorry about that.
So, but I mean, in that case, I'll still try to get closer and kind of blend in with the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll believe that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not like explicitly trying to hide yourself in vision, right? So I don't think there's any
No.
role required. Just sort of act natural in the crowd. He's
Awkwardly putting myself behind a pillar.
Now I should say, all cards on the table, there is a slight chance that he might have gotten a description of you, Perseus, because Callum did see you in the mausoleum, right? And Yard was working with Callum. So there's a chance that some conversation happened there, and he got a description. But he has never seen you.
And I don't know if Perseus would know that he would know that. So
yeah, that's fair.
That's like one of those things where I'm like, I mean, it could, but yeah, it could go either way with that.
And
one.
yeah,
that might be
you didn't like
you
didn't like have drinks with Crane either. So there's a good chance that his description was a minotaur. So
yeah. Who knows how much he got of me? That's up to you.
That being said, I mean, minotaurs aren't fairly common outside of at this point, right?
Right, they're certainly not everywhere. Definitely not in this city.
I'm probably the only one in the Coliseum, but not the only one in town. Maybe.
Yeah, that's probably fair. So y'all wait. I think it's probably like 40 minutes that you wait, because you're not waiting just for this one race to end. You're sort of waiting for this whole series to end. So they do a bunch of these Aurochs races. It's not like a bracket, but I guess they're just sort of trying to get every entered beast in the field.
Heats.
Yeah, heats. That's the word I was looking for. It's been a while since I've been to a horse race. But yeah, so there's all of the racing of this like type. You're sort of waiting for that to finish, and then there's you'll find a schedule. You guys are spending enough time here. You'll find a schedule. There's like a pretty lengthy break, like a couple hour break between when these races end and the next sort of set begin, and they have to do some like cleanup on the track and get all the other animals in place and stuff. So there's like a 3-hour break or something when it will die down considerably here. So you wait like 40-ish minutes for that time, and people start to thin out pretty quickly. The entertainment's done. People that were in the standstill, some of them shuffle into the betting area to collect on whatever wagers they had put down. And a couple minutes later, it's pretty quiet. Rena has moved over to be sort of out of sight of the betting area, but she's still covering, like she could still see that exit. So she's covering from out there, trying to look like she's waiting for someone outside or something. Where are y'all?
I'm near the counter still, I guess, from where the crowd was.
Okay, so you're still like in the betting area.
Yeah.
I may have gone to and fro, but I'm back in the area now. I wasn't there the whole time. I'd probably.
I think I was staying with Percy's.
Okay, so Zell, you kept like an eye on this guy the whole time. He seemed to just be working. Pretty much, he's keeping books back there of records of everyone taking wagers and shuffling money off to other people who are also behind the desk, who are performing the actual exchanges and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's mostly just like record keeping. After pretty much everyone else has cleared out and you're still there.
Now, is it kind of obvious, like, does he have any visible escape routes or anything like that? Or
yeah, you've
do we kinda
definitely
have him
been able
pinned in?
to see that there's a door like right next to him that would lead out of this sort of back area into the main betting room. Because he's out on the end, so the door's like right next to him, basically. And from the betting area, it's only a couple of feet to leaving the entire track center.
Okay. Hmm.
So after a little while, he's gonna lean forward and holler to get your attention. And I think
Okay.
that's where we're gonna stop.
Sounds good.